and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Starbase Weekly, the RGV aerial deep dive into images he captured from the ground and air in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Starbase Weekly. This is episode 44, and my name is Mauricio. I'll pass this along to Indian Star.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Indian Star. Just wanted to say hello and welcome to episode 44. Go ahead, Thomas.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is going to be amazing again. There's so much stuff to go through. And off to you, Grandpa Joe.
Hey guys, it's Grandpa Joe, up for another exciting week down at Starbase. Over to you, Zach.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Zach Golden, and welcome to another Starbase Weekly Saturday episode. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you guys are excited for today's show. We have a lot of updates to cover for this week. Mauricio did something he rarely does, which is get out there and do a fly over the same. Well, actually, he did, fly over the same day as ground pictures, and I would have to say this is one of the more epic days that he could have done this, because he got some pretty insane shots while he was there. He happened to be on site right before the lift of ship 25, and then he also turned around and also got to experience the lift of ship 24 onto booster 7, which was pretty awesome. So I think we are going to go through all of those pictures today and be able to show you guys all of the ground pictures and the aerials from the full stack, and all the other updates from today. I think we should show at least the some of those ground pictures really quick, because this is pretty amazing. Oh wait, hold on. Did that not pull up? 1 second there. We're going to start off the show with an issue there. Here we go.
Get all the mistakes out of the way at the front. There we go.
It's okay. I'm getting set up here in the background.
I'm going to say I always liked looking at the ground photos just as much as the aerials. I know the aerials are a unique perspective, but man, you get so many great details when you're on the ground there. Plus, you can look up into the bottom of the rocket when it's being lifted up. I love that picture.
Shall we go for the thing that kind of stands out as the most obvious? Uh-oh.
Go ahead. Let's hop into it, Thomas.
All right. So that engine bell has a bit of a dent in it.
What?
Yeah, it's not good. That probably needs to be replaced. I don't think it'll just buff right out like normal. They can replace the bell on the engine, but they have to bring it back to McGregor to do that. But they've got plenty of spares to switch out. But it's just like, how did that happen to begin with? Like, the only ways I could think of are human error. But what do you think, Grandpa Joe?
Well, there's human error. Like they didn't program it right, or literally somebody ran into it with a ladder, something like that. But I think as much damage as that sustained, it looks like it has a thrust vector control. It has some hydraulics that can move it around, eventually electronics. But it probably just swung into that vacuum Raptor and nailed it. Or it was turned differently and it swung into one of the other Raptors.
Is that an option to run into the RVAC? I feel like that could be outside of the programming.
It's outside of the program, but they may have had a mechanical failure that allowed it to swing that far.
It shouldn't be able to swing that far to the right. Like, it would be running into the other engine bell next to it. There shouldn't be any way for it to do that on this particular one. I know that SN8, it basically did what you're describing. It ran into a adjacent engine bell, and you could see it right as it goes green. And then you can see the shadow. There's this weird like notch in it that looks similar to this, but not as small as this one. Like this was this is actually a small one, but the other one was like a crescent moon on SN8 when it just before it exploded. But yeah, the
Here's my thought. In order for it to have gotten that dent in that position, it would have had to been in a different place. And if they removed it, they would have just replaced it at that time. So either one option is they're never going to fly this thing and they know it. And so this is all just for practice. Or option two is they are going to replace it. Or three, it's perfectly fine. They've tested it and it's just a cosmetic issue. But I'll also say, in its current location, I don't think it could swing hard enough to hit that vacuum. But I do think that there's a wide open enough space. That's the perfect space to lift and have a guy get in there and bring a lift and run into the nozzle. So I think it may have just been some guy with some piece of machinery trying to get in there, and he went up too high and knocked into it.
Yeah,
that's my personal theory.
That's the same theory I'm subscribed to at the moment, but it's replaceable. The scary part is like it's a $250,000 or $200,000 piece of equipment. That's the price that they're getting these engines down to. But at the same time, they can scrap it, and like the bell would be pretty much done. However, the rest of this system would be still salvageable. So that's always good. It's not a whole $250,000.
I feel like we jumped into this episode a little bit fast, and I want to take a step back and ask Mauricio. Just I want to hear some of the story about the overall experience of being on site the day that they do this double lift. I mean, this is the first time that we've ever had two ships and two boosters on site at the same time. I think it's also the first time that anybody's ever actually been on site to watch the full stack. Matter of fact, I think you may be the only person who actually posted pictures from the site during the full stack. So I don't know, man. I was pretty jealous. I kind of want to know like how you felt about the overall experience, just being there when that happened.
Yeah, so me and you talked about it before, and I mean, briefly about whether or not they were going to close the road or not. That's because it did seem kind of sketchy being out there when they were doing the lift. I'm not going to lie. And at the same time, it was pretty cool just to be around there. And there was a couple other photographers, but they were stationed out further to the beach side, which is one of the best angles if you want to capture the full stack, right? I figure that I want to be right next to rover cam because that's where I'm going to get a good underside of the of the ship, the skirt section. And I did. As it was going up, I waited till it was at the highest point, and I got these shots. And I know you mentioned I think ship 25 was lifted off first, and then shortly after, they lifted this one up too. It might have been maybe about 5-10 minutes, between 5-15 minutes difference of the lifts, between each one.
Well, I just so happened to have the video ready from when you were sitting out there on site. So let's play that really quick. And I think I turned the volume down, but I'll still give everybody a volume warning. You're at Starbase now. Oh my gosh. Like this is I cannot even imagine having that view that you had right there.
So what the feeling that I can describe is it's really eerie. The feeling, there's nobody there. The launch site it looked deserted aside from some man lifts that were there on ship 24 there. But I mean, it felt like one of those movies. I mean, the best thing I can describe is War of the Worlds. The sound of the aliens making.
That's what it sounds like. It's like either War of the Worlds. There's another movie that has a similar alert like this. I can't remember what it is though. I had it in my mind when you said it the first time, but Oh man, like I said, I'm extremely jealous that you got to be right here. I mean, every angle that you see these vehicles from, none of it looks like this one right here. You know what I mean? They look way bigger from this angle. And it almost looks CGI as well too. That's kind of what I felt like. Did anybody else think that the video that SpaceX posted looked a little bit like it was CGI?
It looked a little choppy, like it was just too clear, and yeah, no, I completely agreed. I thought it was a render for the first like 3 or 4 loops. I was like, oh wait, this is SpaceX. That was real.
Hey Zach,
Yeah,
is there any way you can play it a lot louder? People are saying that they could barely hear the sound.
they could barely hear the sound.
Yeah, I
Okay.
couldn't hear it at all, actually.
All right. Well, let's
Full volume.
do that again. Hold on. Let me make sure that it's actually coming in through the
Yeah, I
right
heard
way,
it.
and not coming in through my microphone.
I heard it coming through on Discord here. So
It was through Discord and on my
Yeah.
microphone.
yeah, so
Cool.
that was good. It's just
All right, let's try it one more time.
Very quiet.
Jesus. Okay, was that better? Because it's super loud on my side.
No,
I
it's
can't hear
super
nothing.
quiet.
Really? Okay. Well, how about this?
I think it's on your end, Grandpa Joe, on the Discord side. You have to turn up the volume there.
The good thing about this is if you guys are patron members for Mauricio, you can see this video on his Patreon page, and actually he posted this on Twitter as well too. So if you haven't seen it yet, visit his Twitter page, because you can see the full video there with the sound, because it is definitely pretty epic. But really quickly, just speaking on the CGI note, I wanted to show that SpaceX video because this is pretty amazing. And this looks super fake. I showed it to my mom. She's like, nah, that's fake.
But that noise, my goodness, that is so eerie and scary to hear that. I think that the sound engineers really knew what they were doing when they came up with that sound.
I wonder if that sound has anything to do with potentially scaring away birds, or like, I don't know, making the birds understand a pattern. Like when you hear the sound, probably a good idea to not be near the launch site, right? Because anytime you hear that sound, weird things happen within the next hour or so. So I don't know. I wonder if there's an actual audible warning that they're giving for the birds to keep them out of the area. Because I mean, it just sounds like the right thing to do. I feel like birds are smart. Well, some of them, pigeons aren't, but there aren't a whole lot of pigeons down there. So you know what I mean. I feel like in general, I just hope they're doing something like that, and that could be like why it sounds so loud, or just in general, if somebody happens to be on the beach when this thing goes off, you want as much warning as you can. So being able to hear it, from, I don't know, you could probably hear this from like 2 miles away.
Hey Zach, so
Yeah.
I told you, hey, I feel like I shouldn't belong here. It made me want to, like, within 5 minutes of hearing that sound, I took off, and I told you I'm gonna get out of here. I don't want to hold up the full stack, and it just didn't feel right being there. I felt like I was the only guy out there, and
I feel like I'm the if the Kermit the Frog meme where he has the hood on and he's like, "Do it." That was me. I'm like, "No, don't leave. Stay right there." And he left.
Like that sound though, with what you're describing, that you wanted to get out of there within 5 minutes of hearing that sound. Like, yeah, I'm just listening to it. I'm like, that scares me just listening to it, and I know I'm safe here at home, and you're out in the field next to this thing. That is quite an interesting sound effect that they basically blared there. You got the video you're wanting to show there, Golden Boy?
Sorry, I realized that I needed to switch screens, and I didn't do that. Matter of fact, I was showing you guys the full stack video, and nobody saw it. Wait, you guys saw it though, right?
No, this is the video, yeah.
This is the first time we're seeing the SpaceX video from you.
Hold on one second. Okay, so this is interesting. Give me 1 second.
Sure, we can see it now. And yeah, this looks totally CGI. Like this just looks too perfect. It's crazy.
The problem is the CGI artists themselves. They're really good at mimicking what SpaceX is doing here.
All right, here we go.
There we are.
Still doing a little setup here in the background, everybody. So sorry if we're a little rusty today. Took last week off, so trying to get my bearings back. But yeah, this is a pretty crazy video, and I'm sorry that you guys weren't seeing this whole time because I was watching it and I thought you guys were as well.
I think part of the reason it seems CGI is like it's missing frames, so it kind of stutters just a little bit, like you would whenever you're saving on rendering.
Well, it's sped up and it looks so much like the Claw game where you have a toy that you're moving, but it's in like reverse. This
You know
is
the
incredible.
The weird thing about this is you can't see the booster move at all because it did move. You just can't see it, you know?
It's only a few inches off at the top, which matters, but it's hard to see from several 100 feet away.
Yeah, it's interesting that you see how they move the ship. So they've got the stabilization arms, and they're basically keeping that locked in and moving it around, or they're moving around the pins at the top a little bit to get it to be aligned in the correct direction, so it just seats right into the booster. And then if you've looked at other views of it, like from Lab Padre, you can see that the booster does move a bit. It just kind of moves back a little bit, like what was it, 6 inches, a foot? It felt like a lot.
I do have some footage of that actually. You know what? Let's save that for when we get to the launch site because there's a lot that we could talk about there. So we'll do that when we get there. Let's go ahead and start the show off from where we normally do, and hop over to the Massey site.
Before we go, there was
yeah,
a
go
question
ahead.
that came across, and there's a whole bunch of donations that have already kicked off. I'll start with the donations. We want to thank Joey Bag of Donuts for his $50 donation. He started off this morning, or this afternoon, sorry, with a huge donation, and he says, trust me, you don't need to count it. Sorry, trust me, you don't need to count it. It's all there. And then 55 Chevy Guy with a $10 donation said, great crew. Let's show a train of support for flyover expenses and, of course, for some Sunny Biscuits. Jim Cavett donated a membership that went to Jax, but then he turned off his ability to receive so that he won't get any more of these donated memberships because Jack's a very lucky fellow and gets them all, it seems, especially from Jim Cavett, who's very kind and donates them. James Wilson also donated $10, and he said, let's keep this train chugging. And he says, don't forget to like. And then Rocket Profit with $10 says, choo choo. Jim Cavett's able to throw in another $5 for that train. And then John Dopker with a $10 donation says, you bet. And Jeff comes in with £10, says, loving your work. And then the question for you is, when we were looking at the original video with the alarm, did they add more cladding to the side of the tower? Stephen Tidmarsh is asking.
No, they have not added any cladding to the side of the tower. I can probably find us a good ground image of that really quick, just so we can quickly show that side of it. I think Mauricio got on that side of the tower while he was down there. No, I don't think we have a picture of that side of it this week. Actually, hold on. Let's check this one out. This is the only image we have of this side of the tower for this week, and it's an awesome one because this is the first picture you took when you got out there this week, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, let's look at it in all its glory.
Mind you, this is 6:30 in the morning, right, Mauricio?
This is about 6:45 more or less.
So he shows up, sees ship 25 sitting there waiting to get stacked. Booster 8 waiting to get. I don't know. I think that one's waiting to get transported back to the rocket garden, or maybe it's waiting for just an initial cryo test. But I don't know if that's necessary because, I mean, they already know it's passing the pressure test because it's pressurized right now. So I don't know. I don't get what's happening with that. But then you got the tower over here. And the only piece of cladding that's on there is what you can see right here is this little strip.
And that's just for the cable chain. If you don't have it there, the cable chain will run into the bars, and it's just gravity that holds that cable chain down as it goes up and down with the chopsticks.
Not the greatest angle to show this from, but you know, matter of fact, hold on. Let's do this the right way. I got something from the air that we can show. It's just like barely in frame right here, but let's try this one. It's like, oh wait, that didn't work.
So Mauricio, is this one of your images you're going to have in the weekly downloads wallpaper?
That could be it. That could be one of the images we can include in there.
You're so nice giving that away to everybody.
That 6:30 in the morning one is really good too. The one with that Zach just showed us.
Where was that? Here we go. This side. Yeah, you can see it better right here. I don't know why I didn't just show this picture. You know, I really just liked that that sunrise, I guess. But you can see it much better from this angle right here.
Yeah, and they've had that on for almost like a year now. Jeez.
Yeah.
So the cable chain, if you scroll up just a little bit, you can see it on the chopsticks directly.
This.
Yeah. So you don't want the bottom of the cable chain to grab onto the ledge. Just a little bit of wind could bump into the ledge, and so that's why you have it there. Up here, it's not a big issue.
Why don't they need it up top as well? I don't get that part.
Well, it's the bottom of the cable chain that you have to really worry about. So the bottom of the cable chain, it does that loop,
Right.
and you don't want that loop getting caught on the internals of the entire integration tower, and then
Right.
it would basically just crunch as it goes down or goes past that loop that's been caught.
That makes sense. This thing is pretty crazy. I'm just like thinking about the fact that this chain has to be long enough to reach the full travel distance in both directions.
And it looks like a bicycle chain. That's why we would call it a chain, but it's basically a cable harness. It holds all the cabling and fluids and everything else that go through it all into this bicycle chain looking device. You see it on the boom lifts all the time as well.
There's a lot here in this image that I would like to talk about, but we're going to hold off on that. Let's move ourselves over to the Massey's site, unless we have any more questions.
Just one more
We have all
donation
the questions. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
from Cody Ruthko. He donated $10 and says, I think of questions all week to ask and can never remember them on Saturday. So I'll just say thank you for all the team does to keep us up to date. Cody, that doesn't just happen to you.
Thank you, Cody, for your donation. I usually keep a notepad next to my desk so that anytime, usually while people are talking, I write down stuff so that I'm actually still listening when they're talking. So just write down questions during the week and bring them here during the show. We're always happy to answer the questions that you guys develop during the week. So yeah, we appreciate the fact that you guys come here to get those questions answered in the first place. So yeah, definitely keep them coming. And as we go, we will continue to answer your guys' questions. But for now, we are now at the Massey site. And you guys noticing anything different over here?
Dirt,
a
lots
little
of
bit more
dirt.
gravel right around the test site. And dirt.
So my question is this dirt going, is this like a temporary staging place for dirt? Like, are they bringing dirt here and then sending it to like the launch site later?
They're sending it all over the place. So we know it's been going to San Martin. That's one location it's been going. And I think it's also has been going to the launch site. They haven't been bringing a lot in right now, but they have like 200 trucks worth. Some of that dirt may have come from here, but it looks like a lot of it came from elsewhere. So instead of it being deposited here and picking it up and doing it on their own time, they're like, oh yeah, the launch site's wide open. Go ahead and just dump it all here. But yeah, they've been moving a lot of dirt around Starbase lately.
We might as well show that area where they're moving that dirt to really quick, because it's actually really cool just to see the difference in how it's looked over the last few weeks. So give me a second. Let's see if I think this might be a good angle to show it from. Right here.
The thing that really bothers me is that square pad. Like, they bring in the dirt, but why is it square right in that one spot?
It looks just about the same size as the tower.
It's even bigger than the tower, which is like just confuddles me. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm hoping that they put a tower there. That would be great, but we have nothing happening yet, so who knows? I've got a map that's from like 2 years ago now, but it says that it should be more to the right, but who knows? They may decide to move the second inclination tower in an area like this.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to point out over here is just, as you said, they brought in like 200 loads of dirt, so you can see the how high the dirt is right now on this, like, what do you call it, retaining wall, essentially.
Oh wow.
And then let's look at a picture from last week. So one thing we want to do a little differently this week is try to incorporate some previous imagery from the week before, so we can get some like before and after. So let's take a look at, okay, there we go. This is last week. So you can, this isn't really the best angle.
Well, look at the top edge if you want to look at it, and that shows you a bit.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's like, what, like 3 or 4 feet of difference right there?
Yeah. There's a bit of a slope there too.
Yeah. And you can kind of see it in the shadow too alongside the wall. But between last week and this week, actually I think it's been over the last 2 weeks, they brought in, definitely look at this area down here and then compare that to this week.
Is that some fiber netting down there?
It's like a nylon mesh.
Yeah, mesh. Yeah, it gives the soil some stability and strength, I believe.
So we're at a black screen. There we go.
Yeah, we got the. It's a. Sorry, you said that it's a. What is the actual term for this, Thomas?
Oh, it's like. I'll think of it here in just a minute, but it's like it's a type of ground cloth. I can't remember the name.
Somebody's going to post it in the chat for us.
Bet you it's Dave.
Yeah.
Or Philip.
Always Dave.
Yeah. So you can see though that so this is what it looked like last week, and if we come to this week's view, it's pretty much all gone, and so you can see that it's now. If you were to like be on the outside of the launch site, I imagine that all of this area over here almost looks probably level with the rest of the pad now. So, I mean, overall, I would say it's nice to see that the like overall surface area of the launch site is growing. I mean, technically, it's this boundary has been the same over the last, like, I don't know, 4 months at this point. But when it's actually built up and becomes like, level with on the same grade as the rest of the launch site, it actually now starts to look like it is a part of the launch site, which at the same time is kind of weird because it's just the overall shape of it. Do you guys think they're going to throw some concrete on top of this soon, or?
Well, I think they're going to throw a layer of something on top of that, and then eventually some concrete. But they tend to have been using a layering method here lately. And
lots to talk about here. We're gonna let's come back to this.
Dirt.
It's all interconnected.
Coming here, it fits. There's a lot of it, but then they've been bringing in dirt from elsewhere as well.
Right.
So it's in multiple locations, but like this is their staging area for this dirt. And speaking of which, you can go up above. You can see a lot more movement up here. So they're really starting to make some changes here.
You mean with more dirt, or are you talking
Yeah.
about down here?
Yeah, dirt. No, dirt. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, this guy's like shuffling dirt back and forth, and I think that, like, man, this is crazy because this is like the second or third time they've filled this up with dirt piles, right? So like they come and they just offload all this dirt here. The trucks like back up and they just dump it, leave, and they do that like, I don't know, if we counted all the piles here, it'd probably be like 200. And then somebody has to sit here and wait for the other trucks to show up so they can reload this dirt back onto another truck and send it out. Interesting.
And
Seems
also,
like they'd be better off just getting the dirt and taking it directly to the site. I guess maybe they only unload here whenever testing gets in the way of deliveries.
Yeah, it's like filling up a GSE tank, right? Now it's full. They're gonna use it and send it somewhere, and then they gotta refill again later. It's just like they're doing it in two different ways. You got good dirt right here, and then you got trash dirt. Oh,
it's just
like trash
backfill.
dirt. Yeah,
Like it's stuff from construction sites. They dump it here. Massey's used to do this back at the beginning. They would bring in lots of dirt, and they actually filled in this area, leveled it out with a lot of backfill like this. It was kind of a great area to deposit all of it. And this is before SpaceX came along, and it's just a history of bringing in dirt. One of the coolest things is that they have this little horseshoe up there to the left. That's part of the old gun range, and it looks like it filled up with water, and they're like, well, we need to get rid of this water, so they decided to make themselves a little drain that goes to the top right there.
what that is?
I think that's just a drain for water building up.
I think you're right. In my mind, wouldn't they just fill that with dirt?
Should, but they didn't.
Soak it all up with dirt. Yeah.
So
I
there's
also
some.
noticed a new basin down in the bottom right as well, beneath the storage area. Sorry, Andy, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
It's all right. I just had a few questions as you guys are talking about Massey's.
Yeah, just to the left side of the screen, in between the gravel and the storage, there's this two basins, one a little bit up, and then that big one right there.
Wait, basin?
Where water had collected, just a mud patch right there.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's that big pile of dirt to the left that is saying, well, the water should go over here instead.
Exactly.
And that's where it's collected.
And Indy, what was your question?
So there are a couple of them. Real fast, we want to give a shout out to Mars Labs for his $10 donation, or hers, his or hers, theirs. And then also the questions we have are, Hone is asking, approximately when will they build a second integration tower in the expansion zone? And where will they scale the silos relative to it? I'm not sure if that's a here question or a Florida question.
That's a here question. So the second integration tower at Starbase in Texas, that will be built after it's been approved by the Army Corps of Engineers. So they had put in some different proposals for it, and it was suspended during the EIS. Now that the EIS has been concluded, they will have some of the abilities to go ahead and move forward on proposals to install an integration tower here. So the area to the right, those are wetlands. You can see like there's an area that has like grass. Those are like lowlands, but they're like grasslands or something like that that you can build on. And so I showed the map last week that had some of this, where it was basically that line, that how it's weird and jagged. That is the lowlands that will allow them to basically build up to those locations. And it has these different boundaries that allow it to do a lot more. So to the far right, that is their property line. They have a lot more in here that they could build out to, but they need the approval from Army Corps of Engineers. So we're waiting on that
property line.
Let's see.
Hold on. So we can see it in the.
You can see that right there, that line that was up at the top. You can zoom in on this area down right there. You can see that like tracks and trails just suddenly stop. It's harder to see on this one because there are so many trails.
Let's see. Let's try this one. Are these the?
Yeah, that's it. And there's a bit more in there, but yeah, that is the edge of this property line, but it keeps on going into that little lowlands
right
up there. No, that's not it. It's further up.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
So go back to that first image you were looking at. It really shows it really well because it's got the shadows and everything just in the right spot.
This one?
No, further back. It was looking from the suborbital pad. Well, you know what? Let me send you a link. It really makes it clear. I'll put it in.
I can see the cones right here, though. There's a whole bunch of cones.
Yeah, those are not the property line.
So
I sent you a link to the Twitter image that has the property line. So you want to just go down a little bit there, and that will have it. So it's the blue line right there. That is the property line, or close to it.
Jesus.
So it's really far back there.
Man, I wish it was that big.
Yeah, so you can zoom in right there. Look at how close they are to that line. They're like right on it. On all of the areas that they're expanding out to, they're going to that little green line. And that's the original map from 2020 that says, hey, here's where you can build up to. And they are. It's just taking some time.
Man, it's crazy that there's supposed to be an ASU right here.
It's probably not going to be happening. It was taken out of the EIS. I left it in there because it would have been hard to figure out what would have been going in there to begin with. But it is something that they could bring back. It'll just take some time.
It's such a darn smart idea, and I just hate to see the progress being slowed down on making something that's so useful. But then again, hey, this whole facility may not be used for more than test launches. A lot of this may not be getting built, but boy, I'd love to see it.
And I left the landing pad on the left in as well because eventually they're going to need something to land when they come back from Mars. They'll have landing legs for those, and you don't want to double up on the weight for landing mechanisms. So that's how you would pretty much land the starships here.
You don't think that they will? I mean, the landing mechanism for the star. Oh, because it's gonna have to flip out.
So yeah, it'd have to be something, an additional mechanism to be caught by the tower. So instead of doubling up on the weight, I think it would be just better to just use the landing legs you're going to use for Mars anyways.
Yeah, so the landing legs cost a couple of tons of mass, and the catching arms portion also costs a ton or so. So you're saving yourself that by just using the legs.
Here's the thing, though. If you decide that you don't need the air separation unit or the landing pad, then all you really need is these two. So the amount of space required in order to expand the site drastically shrinks.
Yeah, they could reconfigure easily enough. So that goes away. You could put in an integration tower, new
Right
launch. Instead of it being right there, it's up there. That could happen.
Man,
They could also make the orbital pad, the orbital tank farm for Pad B. They could make that much, much taller and then cut the need for tanks in half. You get even smaller footprint.
Yeah, I have a feeling something's going to happen here soon, but we'll save. I'll save that for later today.
Well, looking at test stand, basically what would be Pad C, it's right in that same spot that they're looking at, and you can see that up above they've got all of those culverts. So you can see it right there. Those are probably for test stand C, but they need to fill in that little green area between the two, and just a little bit over on the other side, and that would be the next part of their work that they will need to do.
Yeah, that's the part I was going to touch on, but we'll cover that again when we get back to it. I'm not sure if it's going to go there because of how many of those culverts there are, but either way, something's about to happen at this launch complex here soon. But let's hop ourselves back over to Massey's. We are having a little bit of attention deficit disorder today. Um, so we, I just want to touch on these last few things here. Do you have any idea what this is? Did we see this when it arrived last week or no?
It's obviously tarp covering some things, but what's underneath? It looks like pipe or downcomer or something.
Does look like
I
a downcomer.
believe it's somebody saying, Rohan is saying it's scaffold. There's scaffolding inside E-Dome. Oh, sorry, that's not this. Never mind. Continue, please.
Scaffolding inside of the E-Dome.
Yeah, to inspect
Yep.
and maybe weld a new cap on it.
Well, yeah, we kind of said this last week or 2 weeks ago that, in my opinion, like, you know, with the way that they fix things, like with the downcomer on Booster 7, it wouldn't make sense to scrap this just because the top popped off. Like, you could just weld a new top on there just like you install a new downcomer onto Booster 7. So I wouldn't be surprised if they repaired this instead of scrapped it.
They could also be looking to do couponing to see what has failed, and they're getting prepped and ready to do that.
Why not just get on the top of it?
Because it's structurally flawed. Like, it's going to collapse potentially on you. You don't want to stand on something that's going to collapse.
Oh, but we'll crawl between booster and Starship while it's not really held by anything but a crane and a OLM.
Well, this is exploded, remember? So you don't know what the stress fractures are, where things are going to eventually rip at. So you don't want to put, 300 pounds of weight up there and fall another 36 or so feet.
Fair. I don't want to fall. You're right.
But yeah, they could just be putting the cap back on. It's something we'll have to watch again next week to see what they do.
Yeah, they I thought I saw a new structure down here earlier this week, but I think I must have been imagining things. That's not a good view. Has this little building right here always been here?
I think that's part of their command and control center for launching the Starship. So that little building right there, I think that'll be their launch control center.
Wait, what?
It's got a microwave antenna directly to Starbase. So they are
the launch control. Are you saying this is going to be the launch control center?
I think it is. It's either here or it's just down the road from Massey's, next to the area that would be called Astra.
That is way less epic than I was imagining.
Right.
Yeah, but it only needs to be done a few times until you decide that you're safe enough to do it at Wide Bay or something along those lines.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'll buy it.
And then this is just offices otherwise.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move ourselves over to the Sanchez site then. This is going to be interesting because they have been clearing a ton of land over at Sanchez. And for this, we're going to have to look at several weeks of older pictures in order to truly grasp what they're doing here. So I'm going to open up 3 weeks ago. Let's see. This should do it.
I feel like I want to see one of Jeff's morphing pictures where he takes the same picture from the same angle week after week, and you just watch it melt into each other.
I agree there. And I'm not sure if we have that right now or not. Let me check. Massey's.
Yeah, look at this used to be like just a junkyard, and it's all cleaned up now.
Yeah, this is last week or the week before.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying is that this area that's just been so full of debris for so long, it's looking pretty clean.
Yeah, it went all to Massey's, so
yeah,
you got to dirty up one area.
I thought I saw some things at Massey's. I was like, wasn't that over at Sanchez? I mean, I'm no Zach Golden, but I recognize a thing or two.
I'm trying to line these up so that we get the same angle on all 3 images. So give me 1 second. Let's see if we can. Here we go. So this is 2 weeks ago.
Bear with us, folks.
This is last week,
Oh, wow, that is a lot cleaner.
and now this week.
Nothing. I didn't even know those bushes were there.
Right. It's like a completely different. It's a completely different place now. I mean, it's almost scary, like how clean it is.
Does that make you think that they're about to start building something here? Maybe this is their Q4 project starting?
I mean, I hope so. Like, one of the things that they had to do in order to actually clear it, and I'll go back to this other image one more time. So
We seem to be stuck on an image here.
No, we're going.
There we go. Okay.
So this is 2 weeks ago, and so when they built the stairs for the high bay, they built it right here, and you can see like the concrete little footings for where they built the stairs, and these have been here for like, I don't know, almost a year. And so that was one of the first things that they did in clearing this up, was pull these out of the ground. So for some reason, I think that actually fully clearing out this area is necessary for whatever's about to come. You can kind of see the old area where those little footings used to be. Like I said, I haven't seen it this clean, I don't know, ever.
Can you zoom out and go to the right a little bit? I'm developing a theory or thought, and I just want to see if it's changed a bit. Go just above the white tank. So I'm looking at the old. No.
White tank?
Yeah, that's yeah. Sorry. I'm just looking at the old pads for where they built the integration tower to see if I can spot them still there. Like, it's actually kind of hard. I don't see them.
You think they're gearing up for the next tower down at Boca Chica?
Wait,
Maybe.
They ripped them out. They used to be right here.
Yeah, they used to be right here, and then there's some up at the top left, but they haven't cleaned that up, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, the other ones were right here.
Yeah,
1,
still
2, 3, and then it was 4, 5, 6. I think they got rid of those a while ago. Actually, I was looking at the picture from 2 weeks ago, so it's not a recent change. But yeah, it used to be right here. I mean, honestly, I've been looking for signs that they're going to build another tower here too.
They're doing it down at Florida. They're building another tower, but they don't have the site yet prepped yet, or at least one that we can obviously identify. So there is something going on there. I think it's going to Pad 40. That would be the one that they have actual permitting on it, that they're looking at putting a integration tower for Falcon 9, but it has rails for Starship and it's the whole chopstick system. So we're looking at another Starship system probably at Pad 40 is my best guess, but it's not to be determined yet.
I keep hoping that what if they build it down there and then they ship it to Starbase?
No, it's too easy to build it in place. It's
Where?
harder to ship it.
Where?
Yeah, no, you can't. No, it's gone. Wait.
I mean, where are you going to build it here?
Well, the stuff comes from like Texas City, Texas, I think, or around thereabouts, or it's even actually closer, McAllen. So if it's McAllen where all the integration tower components are coming from, and they were going to Florida, you don't want to ship it all the way to Florida, build it, and then ship it back from Florida. You just build it here.
I mean, that's like 2 barge trips. You just put 4 of them on each barge, and then you just,
I'm going to back up a second and agree with you, Zach, that forget the individual tower segments. They need to develop the ability to ship by barge boosters, starships, tower segments, whatever. And so it doesn't matter what they're shipping. I completely agree with you. They need to have the ability to go back and forth from here to Florida.
Yeah, because at some point they're going to be, it's going to be like Amazon. You order a launch mount and tower, and then they deliver it to you. And I hope I can be the salesman. I hope I can be the salesman for that. I will sell launch mounts all around the world for SpaceX. That's the only way I'll work at SpaceX is if they allow me to be the launch mount salesman. So,
Do you think Jeff Bezos can order that through Amazon?
If I
oh,
can, he can. Why not? But the point is, will it come from China?
no, it's gonna come from wherever their manufacturing center for launch towers is, which currently is in at Roberts Road, I guess.
I'm all
So
for it if it's made in the USA.
Okay,
Hey,
before you
what
move
are
on,
yeah?
you see my ring is gone. That weird ring that was like this. It was like a nuclear symbol. It was a triangle nuclear symbol kind of ring.
oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
where'd it
it's
go?
right below your mouse. That's pieces of it right
This is
there.
part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. And you've got two of the three legs just to the top right. And then the mystery object right to the left, that's been there for about 2 weeks now.
This
Yeah, and it looks similar to the stuff at the corner of Sanchez, but it's wider, a lot wider.
What are all those little holes there? Is that where the tower segments used to be?
For
It's
the
so small.
stairs, for the foundations for the stairs, yeah. They pulled those out. They just plucked them up.
yeah, you didn't see me show those a little bit ago.
Yeah. No, I saw that.
Look, person for size.
I was trying to look for another angle of the. You're talking about these things, Thomas?
Yeah, it looks kind of like the same shape in general, but it's a lot wider. It's really an odd one to figure out underneath a tarp like that.
Here's another odd thing that I noticed that I've been trying to figure out. So, number one, it's interesting how many, and we'll point them out as we go, how many more booster staging pads they have that they haven't constructed. I don't know if that's what these are. They look different than regular booster staging pad pieces, but that's kind of what they look like, the embeds for a booster staging pad. If so, it's interesting that they're just out here waiting right now.
I'm going to be a little sacrilegious and say they need to get away from all these staging pads and start tearing down all these prototypes that they're not going to use anymore, like B4 and what other ones do they have? B8. They're not going to use that.
I want to go down to Starbase and see as many boosters and ships as I can, even if they never fly. It could just be a museum where you go and see what could have been. You know what I mean? So they should just keep all of them.
Just move them all down to the airport and call that the old rocket garden.
And they made a new transport stand before you for ships before you move on, right there. So they're in the progress of making that. You can still see the gaps. They haven't welded it yet.
And I was looking for those pieces actually, but I can't find them.
Well, the pieces that go in between.
Yeah.
I thought I just saw them a second ago down below. Nope, never mind. I take that back. They're not there. But so you can see that there's a gap. They haven't welded it together yet. They're just getting aligned.
Oh, this gap.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought you were talking about this gap. Interesting thing that I want to point out that we kind of weren't really expecting, and that is these plates right here. So these plates are for the stabilizer pins, and maybe I have a good ground image that'll show this. Well, it's behind the this tank right here, but it's the same plate right here. So this is the plate that the stabilizer pin on the booster transport stand mounts to, and that's what we're seeing in the air is additional plates for those. And this is interesting because, as far as I know, there's only one stabilizer pin set in the entire at Starbase. Like, only Booster 7's transport stand has them, as far as I'm concerned. And Booster 9 doesn't even have hydraulic power units on it. So that's basically what the stabilizer pins attach to. And so we've been kind of confused if they were going to bring them back, if they were going to need them anymore because they don't have the HPUs. So what are they going to attach to? But it looks like we should be expecting to see a new attachment point, I guess, for the stabilizer, or a grabbing point, I guess you should say, for the stabilizer pin on Booster 9, which will be interesting because we have not seen any indications that they're going to have something like that.
How are they going to do that without the hydraulic cover?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
You are basically changing out the pin system, what it sounds like. So you only have one pair of pins, actually really two. One for the any of the transport stands. They go across any of the transport stands. They're just not long enough for Booster 9, which would probably have the pin basically right up against the skin instead of a HPU cover. So you basically are building it for the future, not holding yourself back to the past, which is a great way to build on this.
Yeah. And I was looking at some ground images to see if I could show what I'm talking about here. Let's see if this will... it's kind of hard to see it because Booster 7 is on the launch mount, but we're talking about this cover right here and the stabilizer pin down there, or the grabbing point for the stabilizer pin. I don't know what you want to call it. The receiver is on this huge HPU, which sticks out like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet from the edge of the booster. So without this huge cover, either this pin has to go in even further, or they got to have something else sticking out of the booster in order for it to grab onto. So that'll be interesting to see what they end up doing there.
It'd be much safer to have a beefier, longer pin than to have something jutting out of the booster. That'd be aerodynamically a little dangerous, I think. Also, when it's coming in for that catch, it'd be fine.
Yeah, they do lots of risky stuff. So
also, I mean, if that HPU cover was sticking out that far, what's the matter with just a little truss pin, receiver sticking out? It'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the progress on Booster 9 once it gets fully stacked. I almost forgot about this area right here, which we're got some developments on. So we've been speculating on this area for several weeks, and I think, well, I wasn't here last week. I'm not sure if these conduits are visible last week.
No, just the areas to the left, they had some conduits sticking out, but the rest of it, they're building in. But we actually do have Mauricio who figured out what this was. Mauricio, do you want to say what they're putting here?
So it's going to be a tent. And as I was out there, I saw that they had brought those in as I was leaving. So I think we got a ground picture of that, which indicates that it is going to be a tent.
Yeah, it's on a truck is what you should be looking for. It's out, just a truck by itself is the image. There it is. That is beefy.
So we're going to get rid of a tent and then make a new one.
Yeah, which is really sad. It's like you could have put your old tent here, but no, you decide to put a brand new one here. Like those are reusable. You can use the parts that you already have. If you need any replacement parts, you can get some new ones, but they have plenty of extras. They're not going to be able to use all of the tents here, so I figured that they would have tried to at least do it, but it wasn't the right size. That was the problem for this pad.
They're pretty serious about this tent with all of this conduit down here. This is whatever they're going to put here is going to be here for quite a long time. What do you think they would do here? What would you store here?
Well, so the closest thing that you can store here kind of goes along with what they've got above it in this image. That is basically their hazardous material and ITAR storage right there. So I figured that they might be doing something a little bit more secure in this tent. Maybe Raptors, maybe something else that maybe it's completely different from anything else we would expect. But yeah, this is going to be a large tent. We don't know what's going to be exactly there, but the only hint I think is potentially a ITAR restricted tent up above, but that doesn't mean much.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with some sort of production with all that conduit there. That's not just plain storage. They're building something there.
Hey, Mauricio, what's the poll you have going on in chat?
It's just a poll. I mean, okay, so I talked to the as we've been talking about these past few episodes, that corner lot at the top left of the screen there is for sale. And I managed to talk to the realtor that's listing that property. And from what he told me, um, it's going for a hefty price. So if you guys want to vote, I guess I'll reveal the the actual price at the end. But they want to build maybe like the preferred buyer would have to be like, for example, like a high-end restaurant or a gasoline store or my
Billionaire.
person. Yeah.
TSI Starbase headquarters.
I thought we were going to be in
Re-
that office that they're building near High Bay.
Nah,
Rest area.
right here. If we ever get kicked out, I'm gonna try and buy it. I don't
I
have
want
the money
I
for
want
it.
a chicken place there. Any kind of chicken place would be great. Like Church's Chicken is all over down in Texas.
Why are you trying to take away our office space, buddy?
You can use it as an office space, and it's free. You just have to buy some food.
Dude.
It'd be
Dude.
nice, like having a public restaurant down at Starbase, like, because right now you really have to like bring your own food when you go down there and be prepared for pretty much the whole day. So it'd be nice if they had like an area for the public, since it's definitely a tourist destination, but they don't really have like tourist amenities. So that would be nice.
Somebody senses the build site coming.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
so before you move away from here, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe if I remember correctly, they're asking 3 million for that property there. So
say
if
what?
y'all know any if y'all know any investors that do want to invest in that property or buy that property, um, send them over to, I believe his name is Edward Saldivar. He's a broker
Nice.
listing that property. So just contact him. We'll leave the number there again, or maybe we could crowdfund it and put some cameras there, right?
We'll build a restaurant and then put the cameras there too. Security cameras, right?
You
No.
know, for $5,000, you can just park a truck right there, like Rover Camp. Not right there, but right across the street.
And Indy, your comment made me think that Jax just showed up because you said somebody senses that we're almost at the build site. But we are at the top of the first hour. So if you all are just joining us, hello and welcome to the show. If you guys haven't already, please do us a favor and hit that like button. It does us a lot to help bring attention to the show and have YouTube use this algorithm to put this in front of more people so that everybody else can learn the same things you guys are every week.
And
So,
with us.
yeah, if you guys would like to support the show, that is one way you can do it. And another way, if you would like to, is by joining the RGV Aerial Photography Patreon or becoming a YouTube member if you haven't already. I see lots of gray names in the chat. So if you guys would like to turn your name into a green one and become a member of the channel, you can hit that join button next to the subscribe button and become a member. So,
And you felt that way because I meant that way. Jaxie's in the chat. That means Jaxie's not far.
gotcha. I
Nice.
thought he was actually here. So, well, with that, let's move over to the.
Wait. One thing that's a big one. If we can get some pictures of the can crusher before we move off of Sanchez. There is some big news going on here. We figured out what something is for. This guy right there. You can see on the top of the can crusher, there is a bar that goes across it. It's been sitting over in this area for quite a while, and now we know exactly what it is. It's a calibration tool for the can
We lose
crusher.
Thomas.
Did we lose me?
No, I
Oh,
hear you.
I hear him as
Oh,
well.
maybe I lost.
Okay.
Thomas, say
There we
that
go,
last bit
perfect.
one more time, please.
Yeah, so this is a calibration tool for the can crusher. That was a perfect image. You can,
I was looking for a ground image of it, but I guess
just two to the right from where you're at, or left, I mean, from where you're at right now. You can kind of see it. So that right there. So you can see there is a load cell on both ends, and it basically is sitting on the platform. And basically what they're doing is they're pulling down on it for in pairs to confirm how much pressure it's using. So they're getting ready to do some can crushing with what's to the right of us, which would be 6.1, with a Interstage test that they're going to be basically putting the second part of a Starship on top of that. Anyways, that
moving
was the big news that I wanted to talk about, and then we can move forward.
You just say they're putting a Starship on the can crusher?
Just a Starship aft section, so it's
Oh.
like an Interstage test right there.
Yeah. Yep. Got it.
So that, and then not the thing above it, that's just a water tank. So they're going to put water in the test article above the can crusher in this image. And it'll be one of those tests you don't know about until they start taking it down or we see some bends in the metal. So that's the test article that will sit at the bottom of the can crusher is the one on the top. And then what's on the bottom will sit on top of that. So not to the, it's the tank to the left up above. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. So they'll put that tank on the can crusher, and then that ring just below your mouse.
This one.
Yeah. They'll put the ring on top of it. So those will be, it'll be pretty crazy. They already changed the ropes for the new length, because this is going to be the tallest test we've had with the can crusher.
Interesting. Well, that'd be fun to see. I hope they crush it for real, so they know where the actual failure point for the Interstage is. It'd be cool to watch that happen. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen next week. I'm actually going to be at Starbase at some point soon, so it'd be nice to see that when I'm down there, if they let you get that close. But
Wait, are we taking the week off next week because we're all going to be at Starbase?
I'll be here.
I'll
wait,
be here.
we can all do it. We can all do it together live.
Undetermined. We will figure out what the logistics look like. So.
It might just be the Thomas and Indy show.
The best show ever.
So let's head over to the ring yard. I think we are kind of. Oops. Hold on one second. Finished up over at the Sanchez site, so we can hop over to the build site where we have Booster 9 inside of the Mega Bay. Do we have some? We probably have some good ground images of that too. I know you guys showed all of the scaffolding last week, right?
Yes, sir. And we
That's
do have
hilarious.
some good pictures on the floor. I'm sorry, inside the bays.
Oh, let's look at the backside first.
Aye, Captain.
So we got this structure that is still being assembled back there. And one cool thing about this one is if you look at it from the aerial view, okay, where is it? Here we go. It appears that it has like a doorway, like right in the middle of it. So and I can't tell if this is going to be another one right here.
No, that one is being closed off, and even that one right there, it looks like it might get closed off as well. So the beams extend beyond, or the purlin, not purlins, Zegerts. I think those are. Sorry, but basically the wall extends beyond the beams, so the vertical columns.
Yeah.
You sound like one of those commercials where they just say a bunch of random words. Sorry. No, you're fine.
Well,
no, it's a good point.
Do you think there's a door right here?
No, I don't think there's any doors until they decide where they want the doors.
Oh.
Maybe those are big bay windows.
Well, no, like these bars going across, they extend beyond the vertical columns. So especially like right there on this side, on the left side for sure, those are closed in. That one, it looks like it's ready to be closed in as well, but they still need access in the inside with the boom lifts. So that's why they're wide open like that.
Doesn't this one, in the front of the building, it does that too? And they have a cap on the end of it? I could have sworn that it does that on the actual opening of the building.
No, it doesn't do it on that. The closest we had was
Star Factory?
Star Factory, yeah. Star Factory did extend beyond it, and then they just went and took an angle grinder to it, and that's how they flattened it all out.
So it's possible that they might still do that here, right?
Yeah, it's just they haven't decided where the door is, at least yet, with what they're doing. So
Interesting. Yeah, this is going to be a weird structure. I think I see some roofing, like a
no, that'd be floor. So they're going to
flooring.
put concrete. Yeah, they're going to have a concrete second floor.
Oh wow, interesting. Let's look at it from this angle.
What's that building gonna be for? Raptor storage or something else?
Well, I mean, we have some theories. We don't know for sure though, and yeah, you can see this up here. So that yeah, definitely will be a concrete floor up there. Interesting. Well, I imagine that there would probably be offices up here and then storage down here. Or you could even have like equipment upstairs, like HVAC equipment potentially, but probably not because now there's no way to get it in there. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they actually end up putting in there. We don't have an official answer yet, though.
Yeah, so one other interesting thing about this building is they're not tying it directly into the current building. So this is completely after the fact. They're leaving the structure of the current building alone. It's going to be interesting on how they're going to, let's say, tie in to the other building as far as water and permeability and that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of issues there. Like you have two different buildings that will have different sways, for instance, and you're going to have something that will allow you to tie in so that you don't have rainwater falling into the backside of this building, this little outdoor building.
A little flashing in silicone. You're right as rain.
Silicone will be terrible, but flashing that's like embedded in the inside. I think Don came up with that. He's a patron member of ours, good friend, and he was saying, yeah, just put a nice L shape into the back of the wide bay so that the water does not intrude into this building. That would work.
Yep. Eventually it'll have problems, but people have been putting buildings next to buildings for 100 years or hundreds of years, so it'll be fine.
Our good friend, an architect, Philakid, says every roof leaks, and so we'll see how this one handles.
That is so true.
What is this? This Starship.
The little shoulder.
But it doesn't. I don't see any places for the pins or for the heat shield.
Well, they get glued on.
Oh yeah.
Does Zach? Come on. Wait, I didn't know that either.
But here's the really cool thing is they're welding and riveting for this. And if you go back to the inside view to the left, a couple of pictures, it looks really well organized. Like this is production level stuff here, because it's not like it's a lot of welding, a lot of crazy parts. It's really simplified here, and it looks really good.
You're right. That does look nice.
Like just a bunch of water jets cutting out these pieces. You go through and fold it the ways you need, and you now have all the pieces you would like to stick together. And this is like prime ready for building multiple starships, so that you can build like one every 3 days.
Yeah, this definitely looks a lot better than it used to. I have some pictures of some of the older ones from the last time I visited.
I don't think I could build just that thing in 3 days, much less a starship. Wow, these guys are good.
Well, the cool thing is like you could go through and outsource the part production for a lot of these. So you could have one facility just making the cutouts and another one going through and sticking the pieces together and then shipping them to Starbase. So it's like full production factory mode here. And I'm not sure where these particular ones are coming from. I do know that a lot of stuff like this was coming from the Hawthorne area. So a lot of the flaps and these kinds of pieces. But the fact that they don't have it wrapped or anything, it feels like they're not doing long haul here. It looks like they're possibly building it a little bit more locally.
Interesting. Yeah, we've seen them at the airport. I wonder if that storage yard at the airport's still there. I haven't seen pictures of it in a while.
Look how clean this area is. A couple domes moved over. There's that old test tank, our test article. But yeah,
honestly, all of Starbase looks super clean right now in comparison to what it used to. I mean, this is kind of dirty in the front right here, but This is really odd. I mean, this is one of the first times in a long time where we haven't seen barely any ring sections sitting out there.
I know.
Kind of just like shows how quickly they're moving because, I mean, as soon as these ring sections come outside, they're getting stacked basically. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and once they get
freezing, there we go. We're good.
you look fine. Once the once the tents are all brought in under the Star Factory, the whole area, we're going to see so little progress until something just starts spitting out starship after starship segment.
And mind you, that's already started because things have gone into the Star Factory. And I have some questions and donations for you, gents.
Take it away, India.
The donations come from Sharpie, who came a little bit late but was able to join us. Welcome, Sharpie, and he donated $5. And then we have a new RGV Early Access team member. His name is Ben M. And then there's a question from Domwell asking, do you guys think they will move Tent 1 and Tent 2 without the extension to the Sanchez site? New concrete lot?
No, on that side, it's too small, and we already have the new pieces for the tent that are being built. It was right on Sanchez. I wish they did move the tents because it's just reusing what you already have. And the question is, if they're not going to use them here, where are they going to reuse them if they're going to reuse them at all? It could be that they decide to throw them away or sell them or put them in storage for quite some time. Maybe this is the tent that holds all the tent pieces.
Oh, maybe.
I hope not.
The one tent.
There's a lot more. There's a lot of conduit and other things going here, so I don't think it's just a storage area. Makes sense that they're doing something here, but I'm not sure exactly what.
Oh, no worries. And then MK River, who's been a flight supporter for 10 months, says, thank you, RGV team. I've learned so much. Me too.
Starship staging spot.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, having all these painted. I mean, they painted this whole thing, but you can see that it's already like getting worn down as soon as the water is on top of it.
Well, some areas they haven't gotten to paint yet because there's rings just sitting there and they haven't moved them out of the way yet.
I may have missed it before, but how long have they had that little area with the around the ring around it with the Starship X's? I'm sorry, SpaceX logo in it. Has that been there forever?
Long time.
Well, that one for Starship, yeah, it's been there since
they repainted it
2020.
Yep, sorry,
Nice.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Super.
this is a racetrack for parking the SPMTs.
They do have bikes. They do have bikes. They can do bike races there too.
I would totally do decent in that race.
I would do well on roller skates or rollerblades.
I'm right out on rollerblades.
I'll just hold on to Grandpa Joe's seat while he's going for it.
Are you going to be on wheels or just running?
I would be rollerblades.
Being dragged behind Grandpa Joe because he's quite the bike person. Sorry,
Yeah.
Zach.
Oh, you're fine. So I was just going to point out I think we saw this last week, but there's even more of these platform sections being constructed right now. So that's interesting. We're not exactly sure how many there are in there anymore. Kind of hard to keep up with. And give me 1 second. I'm going to open up this labeled image.
I was just going to ask you if you wanted to take a look at those, because those are always very handy. I know I find them very helpful.
Waiting on its load.
Yep. Nice and big, folks.
24 rings on Booster 9 Logs tank. Wow.
That is super zoomed in. Sorry about that.
Now, what is the methane tank here? We got 13 rings.
Yepers. And then B10, 9 rings.
Booster 10, S27, S26. And we have S26 nose cone in here. I believe there's another nose cone outside right now.
Did you see
That wasn't
Jaxie's
there?
comments?
No.
Ship 26 nose cone barrel stack. Ew!
Oh, I just noticed that. Yeah, no tiles on that one. And I think 27 is outside right now as well.
Have we seen the aft section for 26 yet? It's still in one of the tents, isn't it?
I think
so.
Is it, or did it get pulled from one of the other ones? Wasn't it 27's aft?
Well, this is funny, because the picture is kind of old. They've already stacked the barrel section and nose cone section onto the forward dome now for ship 26, and I agree for ship 26, because it has no like decipherable meaning of what it is for. There is no, like, every time you go to say like it's going to be for this, it's like there's several examples of that counteract that argument.
Well,
It's
ac-
very hard to understand what they're doing with it.
according to Rohan, as of Thursday, that aft section is in tent 2 because it's in the ground photos, he says.
Well, the ground photos were from the same day.
Right, Thursday.
Oh, so let's hold on. Let me move back over to our other images. So we have, well, these are booster sections. So this is booster 9. Wait, this is Starship. Ship 26, I believe.
Yeah, that would be in high bay.
Yeah. I almost called this a booster.
But that's the forward section, I think. No, that's the methane section. Sorry, common dome. You got the FTS to the right there.
Right there. I am not seeing the picture that he was talking about. Oh, look at this. What's
Ready
that?
for tiles.
Is this an aft section of Starship?
They are typing.
I believe this is the aft section right here. Possibly. It has all these tiles on the back of it.
It does have a lot of stringers too, if you look.
I think that's for
Be the payload
27.
I'm totally guessing here. It could be a payload section. I'm not really sure.
That's all right, Stage 0, Zach. We understand.
That's all good.
Early
Wait,
morning photos, he's saying.
The aft sections are not that tall. That's 5 rings right there, and the aft sections are only 4, aren't they?
So if you go to
Payload?
Yeah, I think that's payload.
payload is 5, yeah. He just made it
sense.
5. If you go to the ones where it's still the sun is still rising, those are the early morning photos. That's the one he's saying that the aft section is in.
Sun is still rising.
Yeah, when we saw those beautiful like golden yellow skies, you showed it earlier. In any case, when we get to it, we'll get to it.
I mean, that was. Hold on.
Because he's saying early morning photos.
The only early morning photo was of the launch site.
There's 803.
I do not have pictures organized in the way to pull them up like that.
Let me go ahead and put it in the chat for you.
Sorry.
No, please don't be.
So let me go back to this aerial right here while you're gathering that.
Yes, sir.
So one interesting thing you mentioned before is how they've cleaned out this ring yard. They've been stacking a lot. I am very impressed of how fast they're going, and they're going to be going faster here as they're sorting out what is going on with wide bay. So they're moving around rings and domes quite fervently, I think. Yeah, those are very old ones. Old flatter domes.
It's weird that these are even out here right now, because you never see them out here.
They cleaned out the dome yard, so that area is all cleaned out now. But we'll get to that in just a minute while you grab the picture you're looking for. But it's just incredible at their progress and their speed. Like SpaceX and Boca Chica is a blueprint for factory production of mass rockets. Like they want to build one every 3 days is their eventual goal. So their facilities are going to be engineered to go that direction. There we go.
But mass rockets their size.
Well, massive, lots of rockets.
What is
biggest
this?
rocket? Yeah, that's the
downcomer
LOX. So it's this
transfer
like it's
tube.
basically so
Sorry.
this particular piece acts basically to capture any gases or anything else that would be coming through from the downcomer. This is the LOX header tank downcomer. So that would be going up. So this is on basically the side of the vehicle. So we're looking at kind of an interesting angle.
It's on the side of the vehicle. It's not in the middle.
Correct.
Interesting. Is this new?
No, it's been around even back with let's say ships 4 or SN4. Sorry, ship 4, 5, 6. Those had the same thing there. We figured out what they had when they started tearing those apart. This was there. It basically is a way to make sure you don't have any gases, as I said, going into your engine. So you kind of are collecting them here if there's going to be any at all.
Well, let me go back over to that ring yard view. Indy, did we have any more questions in the chat that we haven't touched on yet?
Yes, actually, Sharpie has a question. He's asking, did SpaceX start its own proprietary steel 304X?
Sort of. So they have a 304L derivative that would be 30X is a 304L derivative that it's basically it's stainless steel that they're not manufacturing directly. They're having it manufactured by the steel mill to their specifications, but it is something of a 304L derivative. I'm not sure what the differences are, but we could see it on the label that there is something kind of special about it. And they also still use 301 stainless steel. If you remember those flat pieces that we were looking at just a bit ago, they were 301 stainless steel. So they're not completely done with 301.
Makes sense. We also have a very generous donation from John Dopker, who says he's got to head out, but here's $10 for the next 2 trains. Thanks, y'all. Thank you, John Dopker. We appreciate you greatly, and enjoy wherever you're going.
Has no labels on it.
It was, I think, printed on the stainless steel directly. So on the right-hand side of one of those images you were looking at, hovering over. Yeah. So zoom out a bit. So it's a black labeling up there to the right. Not that one. It's a larger print. It's like one of those super obvious things. You have to zoom out to see it. Okay, it's not this image. It's the one probably next to it. Sorry, but yeah, it says no. I think it'd be another one. But yeah, it said 301 on here, and I'm not seeing it now. But yeah, all the ground photos are included with the Patreon membership, so you could find it since I can't. But it's
and
just
the
to
labels.
The left on them.
They're so clear you can read the labels. That's how clear it is. Mind you, and Mauricio, how far are you away from when you're taking these shots, for example, like roughly?
MaxQ says it's written on the pallet itself, by the way. That's where it was. I saw it on the stainless steel.
RGV, are you here?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I thought you were, I was like, we're looking at the aerial, so that would be about...
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, the aerial...
These are aerials? These are not ground photos?
No, the previous image that Zach was on. But yeah, these images, they were on the side of the street, so...
I was like, you really got low on that plane if these are aerials.
The 301 right here, FHD.
Yeah, but there's another one that was off to the right-hand side of one of these images I was looking at that basically said the same thing.
Interesting. Well, maybe we might find it a little bit later. So hopping back into those aerials, is there anything else in the ring yard that you wanted to talk about, Thomas?
I wish Jax was here because he would love to talk about some of this stuff. But I'm good.
That's what I was thinking.
Did we finish all the labeled images?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, yeah, we have more for the Star Factory side, so we might as well hop over to the Star Factory in that case.
Then I got a question for you. Actually, 2. One is for you specifically, Zach.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, so the one specifically for you, Zach, is from Astrapreneurs, and he or she asks, where will they park the completed Starship fleet? when they hit
Wait,
it. He wants to.
wait, what?
They want to know where they're gonna. Like, I think it's a joke question or a serious question. It's actually a good question. Where do you think that they will park all the starships and boosters once they have them in a manufacturing form? So they're pushing them out pretty quickly.
I think they'll probably just continue to expand the rocket garden whenever they need to, because it's kind of the only place where they can fit them right now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see it if they actually put a booster staging pad in front of here at some point, but right now it's all at Sanchez, so that's kind of all we have to go off of. And on that note, they did uncover the pads for the booster staging pad. So yeah, I mean, right now they have the ability to store 3 ships, 2 boosters. At some point, they will probably build another one for another booster because they have more pads for them already, but they just haven't started it yet. So hopefully that answers the question.
There's a joke answer to that question, which is serious as well, and the answer would be in orbit.
Park them in orbit. I like that.
And wouldn't they actually be in Florida? Aren't they going to truly manufacture them in Florida in theory? Not here?
They do both.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
mass
they're not
production?
building. I don't think they're just building all this manufacturing capability here for nothing. Definitely see them.
But I mean, I would imagine they're for improvements and things like that. I mean, they're also going to always be evolving in theory. No?
I mean, yeah, they're going to be evolving and they're going to be changing things here and having Florida maybe as, but I mean, think of it as like Tesla, where they had the Fremont factory and then they had.
So multiple locations is what you're saying.
Right.
Gotcha.
And they might have a lot of the artisan stuff happening at Boca Chica or Fremont, but they have their mass production happening at the Giga Berlin / or Florida location. If you see the parallels there.
I do. Thank you.
So before we move on here, this particular outboarding building here, it's really kind of special. It's flat shaped.
Yeah,
Wasn't this a
flat
joke?
shaped and flat colored. No, it's like a joke, but it's also serious.
No, I know, but
Like-
I think Massey or somebody said that it was like it looked like it was going to be an aft flap, and then sure enough, that's what happened. This is the outcome.
It already had the shape. Now it just has the proper color too.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they were going to build flaps in there, but I don't think that door is big enough to fit them through there.
Well, the question is, could they be building, let's say, the bakery in there? So the bakery is where they do all the tiles and tile work. That would be a really great use of a building like that.
Can I say something about the bakery real quick?
Yeah.
I did a bit of a deep dive this week on how to manufacture Starship tiles. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think the basis is you take silica, like the same stuff you have in a welding heat blanket, turn it into a slurry, compress it, and then the outer black layer is actually boron plus silica heated up in an oxygen-free environment. And then you mix that with pure ethanol, spray it on. That's pretty much it. You have that perfect black charcoal, very high temperature, radiates away. So I think if I can find some purish boron somewhere, I'm going to see if I can make my own Starship tiles. And then I'm going to bury a few of them out in the beach and let the kids find them.
I mean, I just wanted to point out the thing about the bakery idea. I'm just interested in that one because I don't. I mean, this is the mechanical stuff for that right here. So I don't know if I guess they would have to attach it to the backside of the building. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is almost like a receiving or like a front office, for the whole building.
That would actually make sense.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I would imagine the real front office will be on the tall side of the building. But until that's built, it makes sense to at least have something over here that doesn't interfere with the internal floor space. So.
But is it facing? No, it's not. It's not facing the road, is it? It's facing the backside. So, like an office building or a reception area would become difficult if it's not facing the road where people come in, no?
Well, over here, I mean, this is so far away from the road, it doesn't really matter what side it's on because it's never going to be near the road per se. Like, and I mean, you can't put it on this side because you're going to build onto that side. So this is really the only place it can go other than on the front or the
Got
back.
it.
But yeah, and that's kind of like interfering with traffic, I would say, with moving around the building. So it's kind of the only place it makes sense to put it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I don't know if we'll ever really see what's in there unless Elon does a tour, gives us
With
a tour of it. So,
CSI Starbase, perchance?
more likely a Tim Dodd, but we'll see. But yeah, so we on the other side of the building, we still have all the same stuff outside that's been out here for several weeks now.
Oh, they've been pulling stuff in. We're missing a lot of stuff that was here before. So there was all those rollers for the flatter domes. Those are gone. They're not here. They brought them into the Starship factory.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me pull up a image from last week.
We got a question that 55 Chevy guy asked directly to me, which was, if it's not subject to tank pressure, 301 is fine, right? And the answer is yes. So 304L is a bit hotter or a bit cooler to weld than 301. So yeah, there's the those pieces just to the left of the circle. They look little wedges right there. Those are gone. And so we're going to see a few more of these things disappear as well over time. I expect to see the stuff to the right disappear probably the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to start looking like a factory and less like a frat party aftermath.
Yeah. But yeah, they've been really cleaning house. Literally, I love it because if you don't know where your stuff is or how to get at it, it really just throws things in a wrench to get access to your stuff that you need. So they're getting ready to be a full-on factory. It's been a lot of prototype test and design as far as their center, and there's a lot of outboard buildings, and that's typically what you have for a lot of production facilities, as well as just these satellite buildings around them. So it's moving quickly.
You know, some people they can't find anything unless it's in the exact place in the mess where they left it. So there's going to be a lot of people there that like, where did my Starship nose cone go? It was there right behind the dirt berms, and you know they're going to be lost.
So I have a question. So both of these have been moved to the front of the ring yard, right? Like this is 27s. I'm pretty sure this is at the ring yard currently, right?
Yeah, it's been moved.
Let me check the ring watchers.
Is this as well too?
So it's all that's in the ring yard right now is just those two pieces and a couple of one rings. That's it at the moment. So we're looking at what was a flyover on Thursday on the 20th. So things changed very quickly over the past couple of days.
They're definitely making lots of moves. This is the view from the ground. What is back here?
It's the UFO. I don't know what that is.
That's interesting.
It's got some really cool structure to it, but I can't seem to figure out
Almost
what that
looks
is.
like chines. Oh, wait.
That was a different tent. You were looking into tent 2. Now we're looking at tent 3. I think. Oh, those little dots, mosquitoes. Ouch.
Yeah, on October 20th, the Ship 27 nose cone went into the ring yard.
Same day. Wow.
And October 20th, the Ship 27 5-ring stack went into tent 3. By the way, shout out as always to the ring watchers. They have a Discord now. So yeah, if you want to know where every ring is moving to, they got you.
There's a question from Hone Nguyen. He's asking, what's the white stuff in the heat tiles?
That would be a kale wool. It's a mineral fiber or something similar to it They call it felt, but it basically is really resistant to heat. And that's what the white stuff is. It's a backing to the tile.
And then, do you guys? I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna say it prevents heat from penetrating throughout the tile or behind the tiles. Otherwise, you'd have a large air gap.
And then we also got a €10 donation from Pumpkin. Thank you, Pumpkin. And another question: do you guys know how many bar are expected on the exterior upon re-entry? Aaron Hawkinson is asking.
No, I think that would be like simulation data, and we haven't really seen any of that. And yeah, I don't know. I think somebody who plays a lot of KSP could probably tell us the answer to that, but I'm not really sure.
I don't
Where's
play
Grucky?
KSP, but it's going
Sorry.
to be less than 6 bar, because if it exceeds 6 bar, you now collapsed your tanks, because that's what the pressure should be approximately for the Starship.
And the thing is, you have to have a couple of curves interacting where you've got, the very thin atmosphere as it starts entering, and then as it starts hitting like the bow shock wave of like plasma during reentry. And so you've got a couple of different factors there. And the answer is going to change over time, obviously. And then as they loses speed to heat, then it's going to get lower pressure there. So it won't. It'll hopefully be survivable, probably comparable to the shuttle. The shuttle had a flatter design, though, so in some ways it'll shed off a little bit more efficiently.
But think about it, when it slows down, it's like slowing down by sandblasting. You're going to slow down a bit, but it's really trying to eat away at your vehicle. That's the plasma. And when you get down to like the troposphere, that's when you have your really thick atmosphere that you're hitting up against. And that's where you really have it. But you've already slowed down considerably before then.
The good news for the shuttle tiles, which is very similar to what they're using here, the ones that didn't crack were entirely fine.
Forgive me for interrupting. I think we're having a little bit of issue. Everybody's buffering in the chat, and I'm all red. Something has happened. So nobody can hear us at the moment.
Let's see.
Refreshing worked for Jeff and some other people.
It looks fine to me.
I can hear it on my end on the stream, so it sounds like it's still good.
Are you hosting, Indy, or somebody else?
No, I am. I still it keeps flickering and nothing has changed on my end. Dang ISPs. Oh, here we go. We were getting better.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay, well then let's carry on, and hopefully nobody noticed anything. And these are not the droids you're looking for.
Let's see here.
In reports, it's working fine for everybody now. All right, moving along.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys can see this inside of the what's it called?
Star Factory.
Tent 2. I think this is Tent 2.
Yeah, it's going up at an angle. I was completely wrong yet again.
And I'm just going to double check one more time to make sure everything's good, because now I'm getting a loading bars on my side. So
yeah, they're saying it's still okay. Oh, it's back. You know what? Let's just try to carry on.
Cool. So let's see here. Where were we? We speaking of the Star Factory, still surprised that they haven't started doing anything with these tents, but again, probably waiting on the structure on the back of the high bay to finish or the wide bay to finish before they do that.
Oh, wait a second there, Zach. In the image you're just in, there's evidence that they are doing something. Go to the bottom a little bit. Yeah, that image. You see that yellow truck off to the right? It's a Penske moving truck. Obviously, they're moving everything out of there and getting it somewhere else.
Well, I think that truck has been there for a few weeks. Let me double check.
Let's not throw logic into this, Zach. That's not the time or place.
No, they've been moving stuff out. You can see like the entire area has been inundated with vehicles like the Penske truck, the flatbed, but also the what are those called? Shelves. The shelves have been cleared out for a little while. They've cleared out the shelves even up to tent 3. So they're really moving a lot of this inventory around.
I think we're seeing good evidence that they're making a lot of headway in clearing those 2 tents out so they can start tearing them down.
Yeah, so Jax talked about this last week, that they're doing a lot of finish work, especially in tent 2. Just a lot of little odds and ends, but not something that's going to take a lot of effort to move, because they need to still do that somewhere. And they're using tent 2 to do that. Tent 1, again, it's just going through and probably odds and ends, mostly things with Raptor. That's going to be the area that really needs to be cleaned out, and we haven't seen that happen yet, or at least we don't know if it's going to happen because it's all inside the tent. But yeah, they're really moving fast at trying to build that Star Factory and then getting this all teared down, and they're going to build, basically this will be the nose cone area in the future. And it'll have hopefully a big glass window that we can see. That's what it shows in the artist illustrations that were released. There's big glass windows. You can see the factory work going on, and that would be huge because they blocked the view for everywhere else. Might as well open it up here. Got quiet.
Sorry about that.
We're listening.
Having some issues on my side a little bit, but I think I got it fixed out.
Okay.
But last week or a few weeks ago, we were kind of talking about how, we're always on the lookout for more launch mount pieces, and the steel is still here, but it seems like the pile's been disappearing. And I think once we get to the launch site, we'll see some new updates as far as that goes, if they've actually been constructing anything out of all of this steel. But
Are you on the right screen? I can't see your mouse.
you can't see my mouse.
And we're
That's
looking
weird.
at the corner of
Hold on. Oops.
something.
Let's switch to this one.
Zach thought he had it sorted out.
We also just
There we
received
go.
a $2 donation from Jim Cavett. Thank you so much, Jim Cavett.
Thanks,
go.
Jim.
Talking
So
about
what do
this,
you call this area?
the ground fabrication building.
I meant the little yard outside that. I thought you had a fun name for it. But yeah, they're always hiding stuff in here. Their little foyer or patio.
And isn't
Yeah.
the ground fabrication building also called the pizza oven?
Yeah, we call that the pizza oven because it looks like a pizza oven door. And with the Lab Padre community, we call ourselves Nerdle. We call the tents. Let's see here, onion, garlic. There's pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah, there was all these different pizza toppings. So pizza oven was perfect for this.
Sorry, Zach, you were saying?
I forgot. One thing I did want to point out that I mentioned at the beginning of the show is that they, as far as having pads for more booster staging pads, they have these embeds right here for another one. I think these are actually for Starship, but you can see that they have a few of these laying around. I thought there was one more back here, but maybe not. But yeah, it's interesting to get an idea of how many of those that they're planning on building. Back here, yeah, we have Booster 9's grid fins, or Booster 10's grid fins. I think Booster 9 already has its grid fins. Yeah, it's interesting seeing those out here getting painted. I don't think there's too much else in this area. I don't know if Thomas. Oh, we do have this. This came off of the can crusher, right?
Yeah, that's the flap test, I guess you could say. They did a can crush test and they pulled on the flap, similar to the way they did it for the nose cone jail, the test cell that they had there. It's a structural test stand. They pulled on the flaps and pulled down on the nose cone. They were trying to do basically max Q testing on that. This one, it's more of a test of the flap system, it seems. So they're going through and doing a lot of verifications of the systems. I believe it's for the FAA documentation. There could be other things to do as well as like verify what you have in simulation and have already tested in previous starships, but you want to verify in different regimes. That's before you actually even do an orbital test flight. There was another area actually just up in the ground fabrication site. There was something different. I can't remember what it was now. Keep going up. It was up towards the top. Oh, it's that white or kind of gray piece.
This.
Yeah, it looks really familiar. I just don't know what it is. It looks like a load spreader. That's what it is. It looks like, but it's not a load spreader, I don't think.
Yeah, I noticed this a few minutes ago, but I didn't really know what it was, so I kind of just like glanced at it. But yeah, lots of weird stuff coming out of this building. If we move a little bit further to the north, go over to the village view.
Would this be your side of the tram? And on my side of the tram. Sorry.
Wait, on what?
No, nothing. It's a Disneyland thing. It's when you grow up over here, working at Disneyland is pretty common. And that's one of the things that you always hear on my side of the tram.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Very regional, but I love it.
So if we look at the, this area is actually starting to get a lot cleaner too. The only thing is that they still haven't poured an actual driveway for this yet.
Well, on this side they have up to, you can see some workers down the bottom right corner of the screen. They've poured all of this up until LBJ, and it looks like they're digging out some concrete because they need to put something there. Brand new concrete, gotta dig it up, or at least part of it. So yeah, they've got basically this entire area ready.
They got a concrete mixer right here.
Interesting. They already pulled up the concrete. Okay.
This looks like one of those small mixers that you can tow with you.
Interesting. I didn't see that before. I just saw that the line where it looks like they were digging it up, but they're putting it back together.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go up to the LBJ area, you can see the double like white lines. It's like this is a no parking zone, and people are parking all over it.
On here, yeah.
Yeah. They need more parking everywhere, and that's changed quite dramatically. This used to be full of trees and weeds, and this is an old hotel that it was washed out during a hurricane. I'm not sure if this is Hurricane Beulah. I think it was a different hurricane that basically destroyed this one, because the Hurricane Beulah it destroyed a bunch of other buildings that we don't have around anymore. But this was sitting around for all this time for what reason? Well, now it's cleaned up.
Yeah, and they I was trying to find an older image of it that still had the tree in there, but I think that I don't see any. I think they may have taken it out within the last like 3 weeks, so I don't think this has changed within just the last week. But there used to be a tree right in the middle of this, and I believe this is a new concrete floor in there too.
I'm not sure about that. It looks just like it's been cleaned up. I see lots of dirt and other markings in there. It even has some like numbers or something on that back bay. I'm not sure what those are about.
High RGB.
They're either numbers or just scratches in the concrete, but it looks like some sort of numbering.
Let's see if I can get one more view of it. Oops. Almost looks like a metal floor. Is this where the tree was?
I don't think so. I think it was just all over. You can still see some debris in there, like
Yeah.
piles of dirt. They've been cleaning it out. I'm not sure if this is SpaceX doing this. It's been said that SpaceX owns this or is maybe leasing it, but it was a danger to people, and so they're cleaning it up, I guess. Now this is different. This is nice. I mean, it's a pile of dirt again.
Yeah, it looks like they've got their first little strip of concrete. I don't know what that's about. Weird to have just a little tiny strip right there, but yeah, this is all fully graded right now. Looks like they're putting their final layer on here before they actually start to build on top of it. Interesting. Well, I think I don't know if there's anything else over here. If we have any more questions in this area, it is approaching 2 o'clock, so I think it's a good time for us to slide over to the launch site. We got some awesome images to cover over there. So, do we have any questions that we want to touch on before we do that?
There is one question from Stephen Lewis. He's asking, where are the new Star Factory parts to replace tents at? I don't know if we've seen anything like that.
Well, I mean, they're not gonna bring the new parts in before they have the other tent torn down. So they're gonna have to tear down the tent. They're gonna have to most likely break up all the concrete underneath it and redo it. So yeah, you won't see the steel come in before the tent leaves, I don't think, because there's nowhere to put it other than maybe at Sanchez site. So that could be a thing that they're doing as far as clearing up Sanchez site, is preparing for a place to put all that steel at. But I don't think that's the case, though.
Fair enough. And then there was a question earlier. Sergeant Snipey, I think it's Snipey, asked this question last week, but you weren't here, and he was specifically asking it of you, Zach. He wants to know, do you think they will build a parking garage behind the Stargate building, or maybe somewhere else?
Parking garage?
That is the question, yes, sir. He wants to know if you think they're going to build it behind Stargate or somewhere else.
I don't think that they have any plans to build a parking garage. I mean, it would be nice. I'm sure they could use one. All their employees parking on the side of the street. But yeah, I mean, we haven't heard any news about them planning to do that. So
back in the SNA era, there was rumors that they wanted to build a parking garage, but that was just rumors.
Yeah. Well, we are now at the launch site, and it is 2 o'clock. If you guys haven't done so yet, do us a favor and hit that like button. If you guys just joined us, welcome to the show. And as we mentioned, we have a ton of ground pics that we're going to cover from this day. So this is the Mauricio did his flyover the same day that he did the ground shots. So he captured all this stuff as it was happening, the stack of 25, the full stack of 24, and then he went up a few hours later and got these aerial images. So let's take a look at some of the ground images. We showed a few of them at the beginning of the show, but
Zach, I wanted to ask your thoughts on the engine protection on the underside of ship 24. It seems like they really got that all hemmed up. Wondered if you had any comments on that. I know you're a stage 0 kind of guy.
Oh, let's see. Let me take a look at it. So what in particular?
Oh, just the fact that it's all the way sealed up, and even on the gimbling sections, it's sealed at the top there. I don't remember having seen it so clean as this before.
I love the caulk. They've got some sort of caulk, and you can even see fingerprints around it right there.
This?
No way.
No, just to the right. Zoom in right.
The
in
white
between the
lines.
bells. Yeah, up. There you go. Those white lines.
Yes.
That is the area that they've sealed in. So there's a cover for the engine bells in this area, and they've even caulked it to prevent air from getting in it or something along those lines. But you can see that they've put their fingers along it to basically smudge it. It's not,
of course,
quality.
Even with all this protection, the first thing I noticed was that pipe sticking out of the vacuum, and that pipe's kind of needed right there. But man, it's a little avenue for destruction if something hits it just right.
Yeah, this is like pretty much the only unprotected part of the in any of these engines at this point, like just the RVACs, and this is on all of them. It's pointed towards the center. So we did see before that last time Ship 24 was one of its engines got damaged. It was an RVAC, and it was one of these pipes. So it'll be interesting to see if they. I mean, honestly, like I'm surprised that these pipes aren't on the backside.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. I mean, it'd be an easy fix just to move it to the back.
Yeah, so that it's not in the middle of where all the debris is possibly going to be flying up. Because on the backside, you have the engine bell, which is basically up against the skirt of the vehicle, and you're not going to have debris bumping back up into here. Speaking of
Well,
that,
if you're worried about debris, I mean, you could hit engine bells and bend things like that one to the right. But they're going to have to replace that bell. We talked about that earlier. But there's a lot more work that they're going to do on this vehicle. So you can see that they have on the vacuum Raptors right there to the right, and all of them, they have that collar for the nozzle. And they'll have to take those off, all three of those. They'll have to take
What is
the
that collar, and why do they have to take it off?
static fires, because we're at sea level.
Oh.
You want to protect your bells, because otherwise they have overexpansion.
You get a stage flow separation, which then causes a vibration, and those collars reduce that. Makes perfect sense. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.
Are you sure they don't just leave them on, though, for the orbital flight?
Pretty sure. There was ones like this that said remove before flight, just like this.
Look at that nasty little bar there attached to that collar, too.
But yeah, the stabilization point, you can see on the leftmost one, you can see that this is how it actually holds the bell, and it's up above. So that to the left, that is the point that it holds it all in.
I was going to ask, so is that a permanent fixture there, that little strut that goes in?
Yeah. So that's a permanent structure. That's how it stabilizes it. It's just this bottom one, you have the flow separation issue, and you take that off for orbital flights.
And you don't need it for orbital flights, because when it lights up the vacuum engines, it's in vacuum or near vacuum, and it won't have all the vibration and slow and stage flow separation.
Exactly. And then besides the replacement of parts like that one Raptor and taking these off, you still have the lifting points, the six lifting points that need to be removed and tiled. So there's still quite a bit of work for the ship to go through in order to be flight worthy for an orbital test flight. So yeah, those all have to be removed, and there's 6 of those, and then additional tile work or whatever else that are just those little finesse things.
They have inserts that go in there. Also, let's not miss out the elephant in the room on the engine. There's one vacuum Raptor that looks like it hasn't been fired yet.
It actually has been fired. I was talking about this on Thursday, and I was like, no, actually it was just replaced and only fired once as far as a test fire. You can see there is a bit of discoloration on it, but not a whole lot. It's not that part, but the stuff up above. So that was the 6-engine static fire. That's all that it did, which makes you look at the other engines and go, wait, how long did they static fire those at McGregor? Because there's quite a bit of dust and soot in those. And the dust is like, it's a little bit of coking, but not a whole lot, that you get at the beginning and end of the static fires.
Whenever it's super fuel rich.
Exactly. It's fuel rich at that point. You don't want it to eat the engine, especially like say if you turn it off and it's oxygen rich, it's really hot oxygen.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Hey, go to the top engine, the top vacuum engine, if you could, Zach. I just noticed, look at that. It looks like a nasty little bit of damage to your left there. Straight up, right towards the edge. Looks like it might have gotten dinged. Or it's
engine, or
yeah, right on the edge of the nozzle. Yeah, right there. I don't know.
It looks like it's just has a gap right there.
So there's a question. Yasada's asking, does that little dent justify replacing the engine, the one that's dented?
I think so. Because the one thing you have is an issue with the cooling channels. You can see them going down, and either they have a cooling channel system that ends where it's dark, and then they have another cooling system that say it doesn't use a flow of your methane through the bell to cool it down. You basically just have, let's say, a equivalent of a heat sink, so it transfers the heat from that edge of the bell back up. I'm not sure exactly which way they have it, but I do think it's all the way through would be a liquid cooling system, because there is a bit of a gap at the bottom where those channels basically just end. It's hard to see them, but you can see those little channels, and that's basically where they run all the fluids.
So they could have tested it, and it came out and tested fine. they have a ton of these laying around. Oh, by the way, I just figured out what that said is 180, 90, etc. So yeah, if that thing is dented, it may be fine. It may need to be replaced. They have plenty to replace it, but if you replace it, then you need to test it, and so it might be more trouble than it's worth, but it might be a perfectly valid, safe thing to do. I don't know. It could go either way. I'm in favor of replacing it.
Zach?
Zach doesn't care.
All right. Sorry, I got up for a second and turned the fan on in this room. Getting a little bit hot here.
You gotta stay cool.
How's the air in your room, out of curiosity? Not to change the subject or take away from the stream.
95% here.
Nice. Do you feel stronger, better?
I do. Bought a new air purifier today, so I'm not sitting here breathing in dust the whole time. Anyways, so we got ourselves a full stack. Oh, wait. We don't want to start here.
Almost had a full stack. We'll be building up for that again.
I'm going to take us back to the suborbital tank farm instead.
What's interesting is how they've stacked, destacked, and then restacked again. But the second time, it was so much quicker. The theory that they were doing the stacking operations to begin with to test to make sure that there wouldn't be any issues. They haven't tested the ship QD before with the new style ship 24's QD. So there was a lot of things that they did for finesse. And wow, what is going on here at suborbital pad B?
I can't tell if they poured a new concrete pad or not.
Oh, they did. That's a brand new pad.
All the way down here.
Yeah, it's just it has no seam. Like you can see on the right-hand side, you can kind of see where the concrete ends, but it just kind of blends together really well.
Let's see if we can see it from the ground at all. Wow. You can barely tell.
Yeah, they've driven over it enough that you can't tell what the differences are. It's got the patina.
Oh, no, not that, Thomas.
It just keeps getting used over and over again, so got to keep using it.
So yeah. I was thinking about that today. What if they just powder coated it and heated that up? Wouldn't that last a little bit longer?
They powder coat it, and then they turn on the Raptors.
Maybe.
Bit of sandblasting is what you get instead. I had a picture of the backside of this, but I don't. But we have this new upgrade to the suborbital test stand. This is interesting. So I'm just noticing that I can't tell if it's actually contacting the original host. So this is very weird what they're doing here.
I saw some pictures, I think last week, that made it look like they were really beefing this up.
I can't tell if the flex hoses are going to be inside of here or not. Like it kind of looks like they would.
I mean, that makes sense. They haven't had a problem with the flex hoses before, though, have they?
Not really.
As far as we know.
Maybe somebody's just being paranoid. That's fair.
I think they have some cables ran on the inside of this, but I would need to see it from the other side. I don't think I have that view right now. But we also have some pretty awesome images of Ship 25 sitting there on the pad. I think this is interesting because Ship 25 doesn't have its paint on it at all. It's kind of sad. I'm guessing that'll happen when they take it back to install engines. Because right now, without engines, it's not a real ship. So,
you know what's nice about 25? It still has a payload bay.
Yes. This is my theory still. I'm sticking to it, and it's just very little evidence, but I think Ship 25 might be the first orbital test flight. Like Ship 24, it can work, but why not have the ability to deliver some satellites to orbit to test the whole system? You want to eject them and the whole 9 yards. Even if you're not going to use the satellites, you want to know that your system's going to work for the real thing. So that would be Ship 27. That's going to have its full PEZ dispenser loaded up with all the Starlinks you could ever ask for. It's like at least, what, 53 of them or something like that, or was it 45? But
Well, the marginal cost to launch Ship 24 after you've already built it is so small. Go ahead and launch it. Learn everything you can. Land it in the ocean. Call it a day. 25, make some improvements.
well, there's a hidden cost, and it's the number of launches you can have per year. You can only have 5 for Boca Chica.
Yeah,
So if
but
you
the year's almost over.
no, it's within like 12 months. So you basically, if the first day you launch one, you can launch 5 in that same period, total. So you end up with this issue that SpaceX, their breadwinner is going to be Starlink, and they need Starship to really do it for them. And by throwing one completely away and not getting a full test out of it, you basically have now Ship 25 coming along, deploying a few Starlinks, and actually really doing that test to begin with. So you only have 3 ships left that you can fly this year, or within that same calendar year.
Are these cracked?
Don't think so.
Oh, that's cracked.
That's the area for the what is it called? Stabilization point. I think they're using different tiles.
The trailer hitch. Yeah, no, that's cracky
Oh.
McCrack.
Because those look like they were specifically built for this. Like they're not
Whoa.
cracks.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever noticed this before.
What, it looks like a handprint?
No, just the puzzle pieces. I've never noticed that it looks like that, honestly.
Yeah, they do something very similar for the telemetry for the radios as well. So that's the area below. Oh, those are really nice. They're nice and curved. Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
So what's y'all's feeling on the Ship 25's fit and finish? I heard a lot of people crowing that it was the prettiest ship they ever saw.
Yes, so far, yes.
Each one just keeps getting better and better.
I'm a booster kind of guy, honestly.
I
But,
thought you were a stage 0 kind of guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Stage 0 is very hand-in-hand connection with the booster, so
Can
Yeah.
you
And
scroll
all
down
of
just a
it.
little bit too?
Yep.
Oh, that's as far as you can go. Okay.
on this
I'm
one,
a
yeah.
payload kind of guy. The Starship's just a way for me to get to orbit.
Oh, perfect. Because you can see on this one, the pin system, they've got the 6 pins for the test stands, and you can see that little latching mechanism in the middle. That's what holds on to the Starship. Just that right there.
So
So
I
you
got a
got
good video of that this week. I'm not sure if you saw it, Thomas.
yes, I did it on Booster 7.
Yeah. So we have the. I'll see if I can pull it up really quick.
Yeah. So those little pins in the middle, they're the pieces that they will go towards the outside and latch onto the ship. And then those 2 little pieces that you can see sticking up, those are the guides, so to speak.
Let's see here. Think I got it right here. Let me see if I can. There we go.
So looking at the same picture. Ah, nice.
Oh man, what did I just do?
We went to a web browser.
There we go. So this is when they lifted Ship 24 off and set it back down. But they had these guys get up there on the wind services work platform, and you know, this is when I saw that. That's when I kind of knew that they were going to do the lift of the Starship. Oh, there you can see it. So you can see the little the pin moving up and down right there. So one of the
Yes.
theories that I had was that they may have like that the locking mechanism may not have worked the first time they put it on there. But it was hard to tell when they lifted off whether or not that pin was actually out, because you can't see it right. Oh, actually, you can see it right there. It's still out. Like I would expect it to be retracted when there's nothing on it. And I think that's what they were getting up there to check, was this pin. And then as soon as they go down, they start testing it to make sure it works. So I really think that was part of the issue. Was, oh man, look how much this booster moves.
That light makes it look like there's a fire going up it. That was crazy. I looked up. I was like, whoa. Sorry.
Well, it's a nuclear fire. It's just a reflection of one.
But
So here, let me go take us back to the other images, suborbital images. So yeah, it was. I mean, dang, it must have been really cool, Mauricio, to get out there and I mean, you've seen a Starship lift before, but not with the chopsticks, that's for sure. So, you know, like I said, I don't think I saw anybody else who had images of actually being out there that day when they were lifting it. So that's really awesome that you were able to get out there. And we're going to show those here in a little bit again, but we'll cover some more stuff from this orbital site first. One thing that Thomas mentioned at the beginning of the show was that they have all of these culverts in here. So I can't remember how many there were. I counted them the other day, but if you line those up, it's a pretty long path. So it'll be interesting to see what those are for and where they're going. Right now, to me, like I don't know how much they're going to build up all of this area over here, but these could be, if they build up this area, I wouldn't be surprised if these are sitting right here on this path that they laid, but I don't know what would go over here because this orbital C is supposed to be on this side. So, I mean, it'd be really cool if they put it that close to the road, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that.
So the path right there that you have, it's to really bring the dirt in and expand outwards. So this is the starting off point that they will expand with all of the soil.
Okay.
And then so those culverts, for instance, on test stand B, what you have basically from where you have all those pipes that are just running down and then they stop right there, you actually have two parallel culverts running to test stand B. And so I suspect that's what we'll get is something along those lines. But it's really when they finally have access to do the rest of it, it's prep work for something that's going to happen. That's my 2 cents worth. What do you think that they will do with the culverts? You didn't quite say, I thought.
No idea. It's all a guess right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the lookout to see where they're starting to prepare ground for it, but I haven't seen anything yet. Definitely will be on the lookout for that, though.
Also, speaking of test stand B, they've been taking off additional plates, and last week we saw some plates missing, and again this week we see the plates been replaced, and now we've got some ones that are removed. So you can see that they are really getting this test stand to be really polished for all sorts of static fires.
I was trying to see if I can get a good image of the new frame, but it's really hard to see from up here. But I mean, what you can see is that it has holes in it, so it almost looks like the holes are there for them to reach down inside and route things through it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that additional framework.
Yeah, they're getting it really primed and ready for, I think, Ship 25 and future starships to come along. And a mass manufacturing standpoint, they want to go through, do puck shucking here, and then station it for static fires on the next side.
puck shucking.
I know, right? Is it just me, or is anybody hoping Pad C is maybe about 20 feet taller?
Taller.
Yeah, if it's for boosters, then it probably will be. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, I mean they still have the framework for it at I think it's at Massey's right now. It's not at Sanchez anymore. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's upon us soon. They could definitely use another test stand, especially for boosters. Like they have the ability to test ships, but they don't have the ability to test boosters if they're not on launch mount, like to do their initial pressure test. So I would like to see another booster test stand soon.
Forgive me.
So test stand A is still set for being able to convert over to being able to do boosters on as well. That if you go back to the ground shot images, you'll see these little pieces sticking up at the perimeter, and those are the stabilization points for that tiered system. You can see right here at the bottom, those little pieces right there. Those still exist and are ready to be useful for a tiered system to basically convert from a test stand for starships to a test stand for boosters, just like you had for Booster 3.
Interesting.
It does need a bit more polish work to make that happen.
I was about to say, I could have thought they cut those off. But...
Yeah, they did cut them off, but they'll have to, as I said, do a bit of polishing to get that ready, and it's not too different. The main area you'll have to change is on the adapter itself. You will need to change the configuration from the old Starship standard to the new Starship standard, so how it clamps in.
It would be awesome to be able to be standing up here while this thing is dropping down on top of there. I am going to take us away from the suborbital side and move us over to the launch complex, the orbital tank farm. Unless you guys have any questions or anything that you wanted to bring up over here.
Looks like engine coverings right there.
Haven't these been here for a while?
I think so. They've been moving around.
Take a look at last week. Actually, I have some pictures of last week available for us. Yeah, I think those are still there from last week, so we haven't seen too many changes in this area.
But I'm pretty sure test stand A is just dead for static fires, at least for the near future. One thing that I really hated was the concrete berm, because I was like, oh, they're going to do static fires, and now it's just a ramp, and you're going to launch debris into the tank farm. But now it's just puck shucking only, so they don't really need to shore up a berm with dirt. So dirt will absorb the impact of debris, and when we had the Ship 24 static fire with all 6 engines, it was shooting up debris like crazy, and it was hitting that dirt berm and reducing the velocity of the debris or just completely stopping it. Whereas a concrete berm like that, nope, just a ramp. It just re-angles the debris and it's like, hey, tank farm, here's some more rocks. So yeah, I'm actually kind of happy that they converted over that. I was dead wrong on the idea of saying using the stands as stations, that this is only for puck shucking now. Like, you can remove the puck shucker and put it on test stand B, but they've decided it's better to have it left to configure the way it is and not changing it out every time.
If only one of these stands is going to be doing static fires, I don't mind that it's this one. Perfect views of that from Rover 1 cam when it's on the beach. So
I can also see it from Nerdle cam and all the other cams.
Agreed. Let's see, I'm going to take us to the tank farm. Maybe. Hold on. What is this?
It's something unrelated, but when I was out there watching the lift of Ship 25 and the full stack, I kept looking over at some fishermen or a lot of the people at the beach, right? And I kept thinking, why don't they turn around and look at what's going on behind?
Because no, they're just like not even aware it's happening, or just straight up don't care, I guess.
Or it could be both.
So, Mauricio, on that note, I wanted to ask you, I mean, what did it feel like this time watching that? Was it still impressive? Was it just awe-inspiring? Old hat? Is it getting boring?
I mean, to me, it felt more like I kept trying to figure out if they were going to kick me out. I was on the side of the road. It just didn't feel, it felt so unusual to do it for the first time on the side of the road. And you know, I spoke to the sheriff, and I was more concerned. I didn't want to be doing anything that I wasn't supposed to. And I even talked to the sheriff, and I told him, what is it that I can do? You know, am I allowed to park on the side of the road? I think that was my main concern. I was kind of engulfed in thinking about all that. And instead of trying to get the shot, I was trying to get the shot pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, man, anxiety is a son of a gun. Sorry to hear you couldn't enjoy it in the moment. But yeah, so SpaceX only has 5 weekend closures.
We lost you there, Grandpa Joe. Say that again.
So the road's open. Oh,
You cut out a little bit there, Grandpa Joe.
sorry. SpaceX only has 5 weekend closures per year, and they chose not to use one and leave the road open. And yeah, so you were okay that whole time, I'm pretty sure.
Mauricio, you were still talking. Were you wanting to share some more?
Oh no, that was pretty much it. I guess the main thing was it just felt strange to be that close to the tower. I was trying to figure out if, I mean, maybe it's for a different conversation or on a different episode, but if something were to fail, which let's say the ship would slide off the chopsticks, what danger would it be? Would something like that reach the road, or would it be more of like shrapnel or whatever? What would be the concern?
Like if it fell over?
The biggest concern would probably be something catapulting off. So if you ever look at demolition of buildings, it would be something kind of like that. You just have to worry about something catapulting off, like heat shield tiles or something being flung off. Not really much of it
COPVs.
tipping over. COPVs that are pressurized. They shouldn't be at that point. But yeah, if they were, that would be a danger. But yeah, so when you're down there and you're watching this, you almost expect the police to tell you that you're not supposed to be here. You're not SpaceX. Like, is that the way you feel, Mauricio?
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little bit more comfortable talking to the sheriff prior to the road closure, and I pretty much just asked him, "What is, like I said before, where am I allowed to be?" And he said he couldn't really give me a straight answer, as in, "Okay, you can't be doing this." He just said, "I think." It was more of like, "I think you can't be driving back and forth." But at the same time, during the closure, people were driving back and forth with pretty much no issues. So I didn't really see. I guess it wasn't too organized. That's what I noticed from the whole experience. But so whenever I was getting the photos of the underskirt of ship 24, I kept going outside my truck and taking the photos, but then I would run back to my truck to just, I guess, hide back in my truck. But I was always on the side of the road, right? This whole time. I just felt like if I stayed out there, they were probably gonna say something. But he was looking at me the whole time, so everything was good.
Real quick, Zach, on this picture, well, on the lift of Ship 24, they had to remove those rubber bumpers. Do you think have you seen any evidence that they're redesigning the lifting mechanism to maybe extend a little bit further to accommodate those rubber bumpers? I think the bumpers are a good idea. They can also act as brake pads, but they seem to have interfered with the ship and the tiles right there.
I think it's way too early to expect those, since it was only like a week ago when that happened. It usually takes like 3 to 4 weeks for them to make changes like that. But yeah, I mean, they had to pull off those pads in order to allow it to not bump up against the ship. And when it did the first time, it cracked some of the tiles, so they had to pull all of those off. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would make sense that they would need to increase the length of those pins so that they could put the pads back on. But yeah, I don't know. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that one. We haven't seen anything yet, and it would be definitely very hard to spot.
So as we're rounding the corner here, is it okay to do some donations and ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, just wanted to thank a few donators that have donated to us. 55 Chevy Guy came in with $20 and he says, 2 hours in, great show so far. Time for a new donation train. And that was about a half hour ago. Thank you so much, 55 Chevy Guy Steve. And thanks for everybody who joined the train. So far, it's just been Rocket Profit who was able to donate $20 and asks the question, shouldn't all pads be raised, honestly? When you guys were talking about the test pads.
Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree.
You were saying?
Did we lose you again?
Yeah, you keep cutting out on
distance
us.
saves.
I think you keep cutting out there, Grandpa Joe.
And he's going to answer the question that I have in the back of my head. Why raise it? What's the
That's my
necessary
question.
point of raising a pad? So like test stand B, it's raised up on the test stand, and you do need to have the ship maybe even higher than it is, just so that it doesn't have so much reverb of sound energy back into those engines in the compartment area. But the main one is like if you just raise up the the ground level, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you. It doesn't. You're not putting in any deluge systems or anything like that. But what, Grandpa Joe, what were you thinking?
I think his raising of the pad was in reference to the stand itself and not the actual pad underneath.
The distance from the bottom of the rockets to the top of the ground needs to be increased. That's what I was calling the pad. Sorry. Okay. So not the ground needing to be raised, just the top of the stand.
I understood the pad as well. That was my question too. So I'm with you.
So we're all in agreement then. Okay.
That it should be the stand that's raised, correct? That's what we were agreeing upon?
Yeah. The distance between the rockets and the ground needs to be increased.
Is that a safety line? That's the red line that we're seeing here. That's basically going out and then making a bend, and it's like a do not cross line.
I think so. Like for if they're lifting, they probably don't want anybody past that line or something like that.
And you can also see they've got safety lines on test stand A, or at least the pad. Sorry, not the stand. You can see on the stairs they also have that little safety line there.
Right here.
Yeah, both of them. So I actually had a question or a point to make. If we can actually get a side view of Ship 25 when it was being lifted in the air, because there's this idea that we've been talking about for a little while. So if you zoom in on the socket point, I think it's on the image to the left there, or yeah, further to the left, whatever. Yeah, that's the one. Actually, the one that's not the right one. The one just above underneath the flap. Perfect. So right there, back in the day when we first saw this, Dave Avery, he's usually right about these things, but he was wrong on this idea. He thought it was something that would stick out.
Thomas.
However, it was a great idea. So the idea is that you could take something like this, where instead of it being something that you have as a receiver, you actually have something that sticks out for landing. So that way you can land on something either in the same shape as this or something else. But instead of it looking like this, you basically have a tile over it, and it sticks out about, 2, 3, 4 feet, and is caught by the chopsticks. It means that same 2 or 3 feet has to go inside of the ship itself, and the entire time you have to worry about the tiles themselves. If you run into the chopsticks, you'll shear off the tiles. I mean, they've done their job, but you don't want to ever hit the side of a starship when you're landing it. So that's a theory or an idea that's a really good one that I just wanted to promote out there. That was Dave's idea to begin with. So that's why I have to bring him up.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that had to go with the chopsticks that we were looking at earlier. At current, the chopsticks have that little pin system that it's basically pretty automatic. It turns a system that rotates the pins out from like basically the side of the chopstick sticking out to the inside, and then those go right into the starship. Yeah, you can't really see it too well here.
No.
But it's basically the pin goes right into that area, and it's a really great system to make this work for a starship. But it's one of those things that I think should change, and basically the starship should land like the booster. So if you go up to the top of the booster, you've got the nice little pins that are sticking out, and those particular pins will be able to capture the booster. At least that's the theory. Any of those with the booster should work.
They're just like far away, so
yeah,
this one is a good one.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, so you can see the pin right there. That's what they're supposed to catch it by. It might be a little short, but regardless, it's got enough strength in there to hold the booster. So steel is really great under the tension stress. Compression, it's not as great. So when it catches it this way, it'll actually hold up better than if it was to land on legs. Same thing for the Starship and any other large cylindrical body like this. It's better to catch it from up above.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that. Yeah, got some train action going on in the background here. And I just really love this angle right here. Being able to see the booster or the full stack booster Starship over there. It's really crazy. I hope it's all still there next week when I go down there. So be excited for that. But let's see. Do we have any other updates about the on the launch site? Let's see. We got. I don't think there's really been any new action on the what? What is that?
It looks like a bucket.
Oh no. Man, I'm gonna have to send that screenshot to somebody. Oh man, I have no idea what that is.
It's got a lot of stuff holding it together too. It's like this is a really critical bucket.
I'm sending a screenshot right now. Sorry, everybody, because now that's a new investigation. We're gonna have to figure out what that's about. Anyways, yeah, I was just about to say I don't think there's been any updates on the launch mount, and then we see something like that.
So could you zoom in on it some more? I just want to see if what we have for pipe work or other things there. All I see is this angled piece of metal kind of aimed towards it at the top.
That's
weird.
Very odd. I don't even know what to say. It almost looks like it's a partial of a like a pipe. Like they mounted like the kind of how they did with this, where they, or on the other side where they put the T piece in and then they mounted the rest of the pipes on the other side after. Except it has this thing on the bottom, so I don't.
Well, okay, so it's for the chains. So that's what Dave has mentioned.
Mauricio just called you guys out in chat.
What do you say?
Rabbit hole. He didn't say anything, just an image.
The chains for the elevator?
Oh, for the platform. So it's a bucket. It's a chain bucket.
Well, they already had
for
a
the
chain
platform.
Bucket. I thought they already had a chain bucket.
Well, this one's a bit bigger.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Maybe
I guess
they changed out the
bigger.
chain bucket. Did they change
it seems to be open at the top, and the bottom you can see that there's a slight curve to it.
A guide here too.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And I could actually see just right above your mouse, it looks like there's a bit of a chain right there. Going to the right there, yeah.
Chain.
And so there's some sort of roller or something right there to help guide it in.
Interesting. Well, I guess we figured that one out.
Hooray! Streamers, balloons.
But yeah, we figured it out on the fly. That's awesome. Thank you, Dave.
I wonder if there's another one on the other side.
Thank you, Dave. You guys did it. Where did Dave come from?
He mentioned to look at the chain. Next to the bucket.
Thank you, Dave.
See if there's one on this side. Oh, we're not gonna be able to see that. Well, never mind then. Yeah, I mean they're definitely doing a lot of tidying up on the launch mount. We still haven't seen the paint job, but what we have seen, and we covered this, I'm guessing you guys covered this last week, is the new shielding on the side of the launch mount, which is way overdue, I think.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I like it. And we're going to have more of it on this side. You can already see that they've begun to, they've begun shaving off the metal where that's going to happen. And if we look at it from the air, we have some massive steel panels.
Yeah, I've got two of them for the sides.
Two of them for the sides of that leg. Assuming it's for that leg, because they will need some for the legs on the back side as well too. So if we look at it from this side, they're going to need some for this leg as well. I don't think that. Here, let me try and find an image where we can see the whole thing. I don't know if we'll be able to see if it's shaved off from this angle.
Look at the clarity on that photograph with booster and everything. That's amazing. Mauricio, good camera, good photos.
This is why they don't need any paint work, is they're going to be adding metal to it and then painting it. But Mauricio got some really good shots. You're right about that. These are glorious.
They have not shaved this off yet.
They're not ready for it at this point. They have to go through and measure it for each one of these plates, I bet.
Patience, Stage Zero. Patience.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything is not finished on the launch mount, it's probably this side. All the other sides, I don't think they'll be. I mean, I can't really see them adding anything else. So it makes sense that where all the electrical stuff is on this side, that they're ready to put that up first, and then I mean, this is definitely going to be the second one, I think. So yeah, really excited to see that. Well, I'm sure these will get a paint job as well too. I don't even think these are fully attached yet. They're probably going to actually weld down here.
Oh, those should be welded right there. It's the ones up above that you should be looking at, where we can't see it.
Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry for the internet troubles, and yeah, I'm looking forward to some paint jobs there too.
So and eventually when they start doing the siding on the integration tower, I really hope that like legs like this that are naked, that they do the same thing on these two, just to make it look even for all the legs.
Maybe they could, instead of painting it over and over again, they could just come up with a wrap, disposable.
So as it eats away at the paint, there's another layer of paint below it.
Exactly.
This thing is gigantic.
Yeah, it looks like they have welded it along there. I think.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit. Oh yeah, no, they definitely have. Man, yeah, that's gonna look super cool when that's done. Can't wait till they have them on the other leg as well too. And this is what the what it was designed to look like. I mean, and all of the there was some leaked images of the launch mount that came out like probably a little over a year and a half ago, and it showed these on there. So kind of been expecting it for a long time. It'll be interesting to see if they put them on the stairs as well too. It's a cool view looking at them from this angle. I think that they like to be on the stairs and look over the rail and see things underneath here. So I don't know if they're actually going to cover this one, but I would expect them to, because I mean, this metal's not going to last very long if they don't.
And when you say they, you mean SpaceX?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry.
Oh, so the leaked photos that you're talking about, I think were from NASA. So SpaceX gave them to NASA. NASA has them as public records, or what? It may have been them or the Army Corps of Engineers or somebody like that. But I remember seeing those in a PDF file, and it was like, okay, nice. They were just some images or whatnot that were released publicly.
And Gents, Knowledge is Good is asking, did you guys see the sandblasting done last night?
No, did not.
To the OLM?
Did they sandblast the legs or something last night?
Yes, I believe that's what happened.
Nice.
Our Euro crew saw it,
Raptors.
apparently. Mr. Allen let us know.
Interesting.
Sorry. You were saying something, Thomas? I missed that. Sorry.
I said nice. This time without Raptors. The sandblasting.
Yes. Zach, you were saying something. Sorry.
I was trying to see if, the chat looked frozen to me, but I don't know. I think I'm just having connection issues on where I'm viewing it.
Seems to be going around.
Yes, it is. Do we have any more questions that we haven't touched on?
We do. We actually have a few of them. Rocketman asks, do you guys think that they will replicate all that is created here at Starbase in Texas and in Florida at Vandenberg? Like, would they
Florida
create
for sure. There's at least 7 basically of these sites that they're building. 2 of them offshore, but there's at least 7 total that they're building. Vandenberg is going to be a big question mark because they don't have a production facility for Starships there yet, or in an area near there. So that would be maybe a future idea that they could build something out in Vandenberg. But at the point that they have the numbers of Starships and number of launch pads, I don't think Vandenberg would be a huge high priority, and it's going to probably be most of their military contracts will be from Vandenberg and Slick 40, and they'll have Slick 40 probably be a Starship and a Falcon 9. It's going to be a dual purpose, one for crew access arm for Starship and NASA, but it's going to be at a military base. Basically, Slick 40 is the military.
And forgive me, it's not sandblasting. They actually just power washed it. Not just, but they power washed OLM last night. So that's what the question was about.
I saw that. I
Yeah.
didn't think they sandblasted. I thought, okay.
Power wash was the actual term. So another question for you, and these are just more general questions. How is the maybe future test pad C area looking like at the moment? So ZTGB is wondering.
It's
ZTGB.
completely unfinished.
Interesting.
It's well on the way. Well, I won't say completely unfinished. It has the dirt is done, and that's about it. So there's a ton more to go.
Yeah,
Fair
so
enough.
the area right there, so just to the right of the, let's say the rollers and excavators, front loaders, I'm sorry, just between them, actually, that little grass, or actually those are the wetlands right there. That is supposedly, between that and this side is where test stand would be, or test stand C would be.
Fair enough. And then Sheldon Boogsby is asking, was the booster tilted or was the weight of the TPS causing this misalignment while stacking? The misalignment while stacking.
I have a new favorite theory I'd like to share. The sunlight on one side was causing the steel to expand and bend like a flagpole.
Oh, absolutely. You are correct on that. So here's something to know. When they go through and fill up the ship and the booster, you will basically shrink the entire thing by about a foot. That's the amount of thermal expansion and contraction that they will go through. And what you're describing does happen already on railroads and other things, even just concrete roads. If you have a lot of concrete roads, they'll start buckling.
Did you say a foot for the Starship?
Starship and booster together, they'll at least a foot for the
No.
thermal expansion and contraction. Yeah,
I disbelieve.
it's the science, man. The material itself will shrink.
Well, I think there is some truth to that fact that if you're let me switch over to a different image. If you have the sun shining on one side of the vehicle, then that side of the vehicle is going to get hotter and it would stretch, right? However, the problem with that theory is that most of the Starship full stack lifts have been at night, and
At night.
they've been at night when the sun's not shining on the vehicle. So even if you were to say that, there's residual heat on it, like, they've done Starship stacks at different times a day where the sun is at different positions, and it's always leaning the same way towards the tower. And it's not the booster, it's the launch mount. The launch mount clamps are not level, and they've been doing work to fix that. And I mean, it's apparently not done yet. You know what I mean? Like it's very clear that once the ship is on top of it, it moves back to a vertical position. So we watched them pull clamps off last week. They had a little pictograph guide showing exactly what they were doing when they removed it. They were adding basically some shims in there, and like shear tabs and stuff like that. And I believe that was to like raise it up a little bit. So, I mean, they only did it to the 5 clamps on this side of the launch mount, which just so happens to be the direction it's leaning in. So, I mean, this, like I said, the sun theory makes sense, but that's not what's happening here.
Well, I think you're both right. So you're going to have the fraction of an inch difference, or even just the fraction of a millimeter will offset this quite a bit over a distance of 69 meters. But any heat expansion or contraction that you have, especially from like the sun during the day or even at the late morning, you will get some difference in the direction that the booster is basically swaying.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that part. Let me show this picture really quick. See if I got a good one. We can actually see well. These are really hard to see. Starship Gazer took this one. I'll just show it really quick. So on the side of the launch mount. It's no longer there right now, but when they were removing the clamps, they had these these posters up on the side. You can see right here it says cut shims. I think, in my opinion, it's pretty clear that if you're adding shims, you're changing the level. Like they're leveling these off. And that's why the booster sat in between the chopsticks for so long, because they were, cut shims, grind shims, cut the mounting blocks, grind the tangential welds, weld the shear tabs on. These are locating dimensions for where all of that stuff goes. So they were definitely fixing the level of the clamps. And I was kind of confused if they were even going to do the full stack. I thought they were going to pull the booster back off and finish, because it seemed like the adjustment that they made wasn't enough, but they have not done that yet. So I don't know. It's not as bad. In my opinion, the lean's not as bad as it used to be, but this could also be one of those things where you make a fix, you measure it, and then you make a fix again. And it also could not be a very high priority for them right now, because they really want to get that wet dress rehearsal done. So, it could be something that happens when Booster 7 comes back off the launch mount, or I don't know, even after the first orbital flight test, if it doesn't come back up. Well, it should come off the launch mount, because they got to put those. I think they're going to pull it off to put those shields on, but we'll see.
So long term, I think I would go about it a different way, which would be to have adjustable screws rather than just shims. And that way, hey, if you put a sensor on the top, a level, and if it's out of level or out of alignment, you just adjust the screws on the bottom until it's in the right place, and you're good to go.
Those would be massive and have to be very fine threaded.
Not really. You just need to push it a little bit.
Wait, say that again?
Having an adjustment screw that dead ends into the to the clamps, and just if a clamp is out of alignment, have a sensor up top, and just have all the screws turn in unison to get it perfectly flat and in the right position.
And there goes Grandpa Joe.
Yep.
In conjunction with the stabilization arms on the booster.
Yeah.
You have to remember those screws that you're talking about would have to hold 1/20th the weight of the booster and Starship, so that's like 5 megatons.
5 megatons?
Yeah, because you got to fill it up with cryogenics as well.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see, what is that?
They could design a screw that can hold weight. That's not a hard problem.
I was going to say, I think it'd be interesting as far as the heating of the metal and it like stretching in one direction. It would be interesting if there was an image. I don't know who would have it, like cosmic perspective. No, you would need to be from the side. I'm just thinking of like a camera view that doesn't move the entire time during the test, and like as they're filling it up, it'd be interesting to see if the cold cryo liquid, as it's shrinking the metal, causes it to shift in a different direction, like if it moves as it's cooling down or not.
Well, as it cools down, the whole thing would shrink down. That's what you'd have with the basically liquid nitrogen. And even when you're basically putting nitrogen gas or purging the system at all, it's going to be cold as well. So you're going to be cooling down the metal there. So you're going to go from, let's say it's 90 degrees in August or so. You're going to be bringing that temperature down. And so you're talking about the booster and the Starship overall. That's where you get that foot about. I've even seen up to 18 inches as the mathematical estimate, but a foot should be about right.
This looks like a poop stain from a pterodactyl.
How'd you know what that looks like to begin with?
Rather large.
How many pterodactyls poop do you see?
I thought they're extinct, but I don't know.
Not
Anyways,
according to the movies.
We are approaching the end of this show today. I want to make sure that we handle any other questions that we may have missed. So, Indy, do we have anything that we
do?
Let's do it.
All right. So bonus round asks, he or she is following a business trip They will find themselves in Brownsville next week for another day. Oh, I'm sorry. They'll find themselves in Brownsweek for another day, leaving tomorrow. What are your top Starbase must-dos? Maybe that's a Mauricio question. Mauricio, what's a must-do at Starbase
I
or
would
in
say
Brownsville?
in Starbase, definitely get some pictures in front of the Rocket Garden and take advantage of the fact that the road is still open at this point. And obviously visit the launch site, go to the beach. It's actually pretty. I've been going out there for the past 2 weeks, early in the mornings, and it's actually pretty. There's not that many people out there, so it's you kind of have the whole beach to yourself. So it's kind of peaceful to be out there. I've seen people meditating, just people fishing. It's pretty. It's a nice environment to be around, and then you have the rockets in the background. So there's that as well.
Can't go wrong with
Um,
rockets.
and I mean, what else? I would say would just enjoy being out. The Starbase sign, that's there's always people pulling up on that, so you barely see the words there, but yeah.
Really,
Where are the words?
right here.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Wow, look at you and your amazing camera.
I mean, how many miles away are you taking that picture to get that sign?
He's at least 10,000 feet.
10,000 feet, and you're over the Gulf here, and you're not fully zoomed in. Because if you're fully zoomed in, you'd be like, that is an amazing camera, Mauricio. Congratulations again on this. This is well worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good camera. I appreciate it. We did a fundraising. For those that don't know, we did a fundraising for that camera. What was it, about 10 episodes ago, and the other camera was kind of given out on us. So I appreciate that. And the next thing I'm on my list is I'm gonna try and upgrade the boots that I have because I've been trying to go out there to the wetlands, and the last time I went out there, I got water in my boots.
Been there, done that.
And wet
Well, you
dog,
got to
didn't
use
you?
the Cajun boots.
No white boots, please. No white boots. You don't need to look like a majorette. No. Please.
Are you saying you're going to bring Mauricio white boots?
I'm tempted.
You got to commit now. I mean, it's coming up. You're going to be out there for Nerdle Fest, so you got to commit.
You know, my saddest shame is that I actually don't own white boots.
I know, right, man? Buy them for yourself first. Let us see how they look on you, and we'll let you know if Mauricio can have them or not, or should get them.
Fabulous. They would look absolutely fabulous.
As does everything, right, Grandpa Joe?
That's right.
Mauricio, I have a quick question for you, and now it's out of my head. Never mind. Oh, no, I do. Everybody is agreeing that the camera you bought is amazing, and the pictures you take are phenomenal. They're all saying it was well worth the donations. And just a little shout out to Shenandoah Smith, who says, "Safety first, RGV aerial photography. Thank you for all your hard work." Just had to shout her out. That was it.
All
Oh,
right.
more questions I got for you, if you want another.
Sure.
Okay, we'll do one more. 55 Chevy Guy Steve asks, how many Starlink V2s can fit in the newest Pez dispenser? Thoughts?
Well, the first one was like 10. It was barely that many, and now it's probably the 54. I think whatever the animation had, it was a considerable number.
Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. I'll have to take your word.
Yeah, we just know it's less than what it was.
Yeah.
Mauricio. Box.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, the bots just showed up. Lovely. Well, I guess it's as good of time as any to put an end to the show. We have reached our 3-hour mark. So we want to say a huge thank you to everybody for being here and always coming with us on the Saturday. This is episode 44. And we will hopefully be doing one next week. Some of us will be down at Starbase, so it's still up in the fence because we will maybe actually be on site during this time next week. And
so jealous.
We'll see.
At the fence, you mean? You're
So
literally at the
jealous.
fence?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
I think you should do it from the air as you do a flyover.
Flyover, I think, is on Wednesday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll let you guys know and try to put the info out a few days early when we figure out what's going to happen. So keep on the lookout for that. And with that, this is Zach Golden, and I will see you all later. And I'll pass this off to whoever takes it.
Mauricio.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today at 44. My name is Mauricio. I'll pass this along to Indian Star.
All right, peeps. See you next week. Thank you for joining us, and thank you all for the donations. Thomas?
Thank you for having me again. This has been amazing, in-depth conversation. I love it. Grandpa Joe?
Hey guys, man, I am so excited to be down there next week, heading down Thursday, and man, just couldn't be more happy. It's always great to get down there and get to see and Mauricio again, and Zach and everybody else from the Lab Padre crew coming down. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Crowfest 3.0. And with that, Grandpa Joe's mic cutting out. Stage separation confirmed. Love you. Bye.